Chapter 537. In the face of such a huge profit, the Ning family of Qin province made a move. They could not think of any negative consequences for renting out the land. They found Chao, Herue, and the other two, who had just finished their hard work. They were the ones in charge of this matter. Zhang Zhong gave the matter of renting out the land as a joint production project. With this, it became a gimmick to encourage the local people to vigorously develop farming. Chao, Herue, and the other two thought that Zhang Zhong believed them. This was the result of their hard work in farming twice. They signed the documents with the surrounding provinces. When the Ning family came looking for them, the three of them did not think too much and immediately used their authority to rent 150,000 mu of land in Qin province. They still owed the Ning family money. Although they knew that the land was not good, it did not matter. The Zhang family had already said that they could rent any land they wanted. The money for the road construction was also given out. They did not care how much the Ning family could embezzle from it. None of the 150,000 mu of land was good. They were either the worst inferior land or the saline alkali soil. Lu Zhou's Chamber of Commerce acted swiftly. As soon as the land was rented, they would send people to plant cotton. Good land had a lot of cotton, but inferior land could still produce cotton. Even the saline alkali soil could be used to plant cotton. It was just a matter of how much cotton could be produced. The Ning family was waiting for an opportunity like this. The agreement they signed with Lu Zhou's Chamber of Commerce stated that they were inferior land. However, in the account book of the province, they were planning for an intermediate land. When they saw the people from the Chamber of Commerce going to plant cotton, they could not help but take action. They had not received any news that their property in Heian County was being attacked. They wrote a report of impeachment against Zhang Zhong and sent it to the Chamber of Commerce via an official courier. The reason was simple. No matter how good the cotton-padded clothes made by Daisy were, or how practical the yarn was, they still occupied the land used to grow food. The Ning family had specially arranged a banquet for this matter. Without the help of the pigeons, they had no idea that their family's businesses in Great Tang were being attacked. Zhang Xiaobao wanted to let the people who wanted to deal with the Zhang family know that they should directly deal with whoever they wanted to deal with, and not use the Zhang family's village as an opening. This time, he was determined to make a loss. Even if it was several times the loss, he was determined to completely destroy the Ning family. 10 days after the Ning family's letter was sent out, the cotton growers had already asked the local people to plant cotton around the rented fields. The biggest advantage here was that there was no need to consider too many seasonal factors. As long as they were planting, there was basically no problem at all. Although the yield might be affected, it would definitely not be a complete loss. If it was Hainan Island, it would be even better. If they had the ability to shorten the maturity time of the crops, it would not be a problem for them to grow 10 crops in a year. After planting the cotton as the wall, the people of the Chamber of Commerce no longer continued to plant cotton. Instead, they planted soybeans in the middle of the wall. Although the rented land was not good, it was still land after all, even if there was a lot of saline alkali soil. Zhang Xiaobao did not expect to have a big harvest in the first few years, let alone make money. In fact, in the first 2 or 3 years, he had been constantly filling in money. Old Man Chang and Old Man Pai, who had been worried about the Zhang family, were finally relieved when they found out that soybeans were planted in the wall. So that's how it is. They're actually planting soybeans. No wonder they dared to rent the alkali soil. As long as it's not too serious, the soybeans won't die. It seems that all of this is a preparation to deal with the Ning family. The Ning family has probably already written an impeachment report. When the higher-ups send someone to investigate, the Ning family will be in trouble. Old Man Chang was very clear about the role of soybeans. Many people cultivated their own land. When the land was not good, they would casually plant some soybeans. It was better than wheat or rice, and they did not have to worry about it. That's right. The Ning family has no right to casually impeach others. Now everyone knows that the Ning family has always disliked Zhang Zhong. I guess Zhang Zhong can no longer be the provincial governor. The people sent by the imperial court to investigate will arrive in the second half of the year when the taxes are paid. How much can Lu Zhou pay this year? How much can he pay? How much can he pay in Qinzhou? Comparing the two cases, not to mention that Zhang Zhong did not do anything wrong, even if he did, the imperial court would pretend that they did not see it. If he did not do anything wrong, he would need at least 3 years to be a county magistrate. Zhang Zhong has only been here for a little more than a year, not even 2 years. Lu Zhou is not like before. He has started to make a lot of money. Many people are racking their brains to get to Lu Zhou. 6 magistrates, 1 provincial governor, 1 military registrar. No matter who wants to get them, they have to wait until Zhang Zhong leaves. In order to make Zhang Zhong give up his position, how many people do you think are willing to help Zhang Zhong deal with Ning Zhongzi? Old Man Pai knew about politics. The Zhang family knew that it was impossible for them to stay for 3 years no matter what. That was why they kept investing to strengthen their position in the Chamber of Commerce. Before they left, they just happened to get rid of the Ning family. A family without an official position could only rely on business to wait for a chance to make a comeback. Unfortunately, their business was also affected by the Zhang family. If it was just the Zhang family's business between the clouds and the water and the sea and clouds here, the Zhang family might not be able to win against the Ning family. However, the Zhang family had joined forces with many other big businessmen to attack one person. In addition, the Zhang family had divided the benefits from the sandbox game, and the imperial court valued the Zhang family. The Zhang family had all the advantages, including the right time, the right place, and the right people. Not to mention the Ning family. Even the aristocratic families in the capital could not compete with them alone. When he thought about this, Old Man Pai sighed with emotion. The Ning family has been in Lingnan for a long time. Do they really think that no one can deal with them? Compared to their stability, the Zhang family has been growing up in the midst of other people's schemes since Zhuangzi. One is safe, one is dangerous. It is easy to see who is better. That's right. The most praiseworthy thing is that when the Zhang family is dealing with other people, they have never stopped trying to improve the lives of the local people. While doing practical things, they have also schemed against others. They have never written memorials to complain about how they were wronged, and they have never urged the imperial court to send out military equipment or food for disaster relief. They take care of everything themselves, and they can even bring a lot of benefits to the imperial court. No matter who it is, they will feel comfortable using this kind of person. However, I don't understand why the Zhang family is renting land in another province for 50 years. They are also growing beans, and they are losing money every year. Are they doing this just to deal with the Ning family? When Old Man Chang agreed with Old Man Pai, he had an even bigger doubt in his heart. Old Man Pai also couldn't understand what the Zhang family was planning. If it were anyone else, he would also think that they were losing money every year. However, it seemed impossible for the Zhang family. This wasn't the first time that he had experienced the Zhang family's ability to make money. In the past, he had seen the Zhang family's plans. Every time they made a deal, they would make a lot of money. Just when people thought that they were going to lose money, they would make a lot of money in the end. While Old Man Pai and Old Man Chang were racking their brains to figure out how to make money, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan were busy designing rooms for their younger brothers and sisters. The room that the younger brothers and sisters were living in was a bit big and too empty. They had to send more maidservants to accompany them. Especially at night, they couldn't put out the candles. Otherwise, when the babies woke up and started crying, they would have to spend a lot of time coaxing them. The crib was leaning against the corner of the room, and there was a circle of cloth dolls around it. Wang Wan deliberately used other people's children as an experiment. She connected the 2 rooms and placed a crib in the middle of the room. She didn't light the candles at night. As a result, when the baby woke up in the middle of the night, he cried for a full hour until his mother held him in her arms and fed him milk. Only then did he fall asleep peacefully. After changing the babies several times, the results were the same. Wang Wan finally believed Zhang Xiaobao's words. What children were most afraid of was darkness and loneliness. Of course, her younger brothers and sisters couldn't be treated like that. When they were placed in a corner, the room was always lit. There were also maidservants guarding them. When they woke up, they only cried a little. Sometimes they didn't even cry. They would open their eyes wide and look curiously. They would even giggle. They would be wrapped in cotton blankets. When they slept, they would appear to be very peaceful. It's really amazing, Wang Wan said to Zhang Xiaobao when she thought of the experiment when she was drawing on the paper. What's so amazing about it? It's human nature. Not to mention children. Even if it were an adult, if they were placed on a bed in an empty room, they wouldn't be able to bear it if they didn't have a strong enough mental fortitude. The slope of your room is a little bigger. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan each had their own division of labor. The place Wang Wan designed for her younger brothers and sisters to exercise was not like the one she and Zhang Xiaobao had when they were more than 10 months old. It was a slope, and a woolen blanket was placed on top of it for her younger brothers and sisters to climb up or roll down from it. It was a very good exercise method. Zhang Xiaobao, on the other hand, tried his best to create an infinitely large playground in the limited space. He built a low partition with wooden boards at a height of 1 meter. There were a total of 3 levels. Each level had at least 4 gentle slopes that could be used to go up and down, so that the younger brothers and sisters could climb up and down. Each level had many interconnected forks, just like the passage in front of Zhuangzi that was made with piles of straw. However, this time, there was no passage. There were small spaces, and in each space, there were toys that wouldn't hurt the younger brothers and sisters. When the time came, they would let them climb up and down to play. At each entrance, there would be bells that would ring when touched to cultivate the younger brothers' and sisters' sense of direction. In many places, there were also doors that could be opened, and glass would be used to block them. It would be transparent, and it would also be convenient for people to clean up the younger brothers and sisters. If it weren't for their own younger brothers and sisters, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan wouldn't have bothered to do this. When the time came, such a house would be sent to the ship. Although the place was small, the craftsmanship was very refined. Just this house, for the younger brothers and sisters, to play in cost no less than 1,000 strings of coins. The carpets inside were all Western region cashmere carpets, and they had to ensure that the humidity was high. The toys made of glass and cotton were not expensive, and there were also all kinds of things made of fish glue that could be used to tear things apart. The world was so big that only Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan's younger brothers and sisters could enjoy it. Even the children in the imperial palace couldn't expect to have such a good combination of play and exercise. The 4 little guys didn't know that from the time they were born, they had already been doted on by thousands of people. What Zhang Xiaobao was worried about now was how to create a space in the house that could be moved back and forth. It had to be able to move up and down, left and right, back and forth in small amounts. It was simple to move, but no matter how it moved, there would be a situation in the end, and that was that it would be separated from a place where it was connected by a certain distance. If it was separated, it would be easy to pinch the younger brothers and sisters. Wang Wan had designed the general framework and also drew the place where the ocean ball was. She turned her head and saw that Zhang Xiaobao was holding his chin and worrying. She went over and saw the place where the house was supposed to move. After thinking for a while, she said, "Just hang the place where the house is supposed to move 1 inch above the ground, and use a cloth to block it. Block it loosely, and the cloth won't be damaged when it moves. Make the same slope for them, and use a loose cloth to connect it. They can climb up along the cloth. Are you making this as a cradle? It's not bad. Add a few short pillows on top, and they can fall asleep when they are tired." What cradle? I'm afraid that they will get seasick. While there is still some time, let's make it first and let them get used to the process of moving while playing. It's about time. Let's quickly find someone to do it. Zhang Xiaobao drew a trampoline at the side and made the space on top bigger, using beast tendons to weave it. Following Zhang Xiaobao's orders, the craftsmen used all their skills and used the best mahogany as the base. After 4 days, a house that was 12 feet high, 3 feet wide, and 4 feet long was built. From the outside, except for the glass part, the rest of the house was relatively simple. However, if an adult could get in, they would know how gorgeous the interior was. Every part of the house was protected, except for velvet and satin, and each part had its own function. If one of the parts was taken out to sell, it would be worth dozens of strings of coins. Jiang Wang clan was stunned when she saw the house. Didn't Xiao Bao and Cuckoo say that they were going to make a smaller house called a space for their younger brothers and sisters? How was it small? It was bigger than the houses that ordinary people lived in. It was just divided into several levels, and there was even a small swimming pool inside. Husband, is it too big? Jiang Wang clan pulled Zhang Zhong to look at the house together. It's not big after divided into several levels. Zhang Zhong gestured with his hand. Husband, this house cost more than 1,000 strings of coins just to buy the cashmere carpet, and that's not including our own glass, mirrors, and all kinds of gadgets. Aren't we spoiling them too much? Jiang Wang clan calculated the price of the glass, mirrors, and other things, and came up with a rough figure. They could buy it with 10,000 strings of coins. If they didn't include the design fee that Xiao Bao and Cuckoo said, 10,000 strings of coins would definitely not be considered expensive by the aristocratic families or the palace. If they included the most difficult design fee, it was estimated that it would cost at least 15,000 strings of coins. Before the 4 little guys were born, they specially made a delivery room, and after they were born, they made a house for them. They were only 3 months old, and the money spent on them was already more than 30,000 strings of coins. Even the emperor's son didn't spend so much money when he was 3 months old, right? This didn't include the various precious medicines prepared for them, the full-time medical doctor who was on call 24 hours a day, the clothes made for them, the cows raised for them, and other auxiliary things. According to the calculation method of the son and daughter-in-law, the amount of manpower used in a certain aspect was equal to the value that this manpower could create in the outside world. Then, how much was the 8 5-star ranked maidservants worth? They surrounded the little guys all day long, and according to the value created, it was a lot more. Zhang Zhong narrowed his eyes and nodded, saying, I'm relieved. This means that Xiao Bao and Cuckoo are good to their younger brothers and sisters. Today, they are willing to use tens of thousands of strings of coins to make things for their younger brothers and sisters. In the future, they won't care about giving hundreds of thousands of strings of coins to their younger brothers and sisters, so they won't fight for the family property. That's true, but I'm afraid that before the 4 kids are old enough to fight for the family property, Xiao Bao and Cuckoo will have already spent hundreds of thousands of strings of coins on them. If the 4 kids are uncomfortable on the boat, I guess Xiao Bao and Cuckoo will specially make a big boat for them. There's nothing that Xiao Bao and Cuckoo can't do. The Jiang Wang clan was really distressed about the money. She never thought that her son and daughter-in-law would build such a small space house for their younger brothers and sisters. It turned out that the small space referred to the space inside, and not the overall space outside. Zhang Zhong didn't care how much money was spent, as long as Xiao Bao and Cuckoo cared about their younger brothers and sisters. He comforted his wife. The cost is not high. It's not like you don't know glass. You can easily make it by burning some stones. So what if they make a boat? Which eldest son or eldest daughter can treat their younger brothers and sisters like this? My family can. Isn't it just money? When the rented land is better, we can earn more money. Who is as calculative as our Xiao Bao and Cuckoo? So what if it's saline alkali soil? The serious areas should be washed twice with water, and the less serious areas should be planted with beans. When the time comes, the beans should be left to rot in the field. After 2 or 3 years, the bad areas should be better. Then, with all kinds of fertilizers, the important role of the white full beans will be known by the imperial court. No one will say anything about planting them in large quantities. Such a long-term plan. How can ordinary people think of it? When Zhang Zhong said these words, he was very proud. When others thought that the Chamber of Commerce was losing money, he also thought so at first. Later, he couldn't help but call his son and daughter-in-law to his side to ask, Only then did he know about their long-term plans. As for whether they had other plans in the future, if his son didn't say anything, he couldn't ask either. When the two were talking, the craftsman brought something over. A wheel made of stainless steel was wrapped with a thick layer of fish glue mixed with hemp and tree bark called fiber. A half-inch thick iron plate was fastened together. Zhang Zhong and Zhang Wang clan knew that this was a shock absorber. It was very difficult to make, mainly because that kind of iron was hard to find. Just this little thing alone cost a few hundred strings of coins. On top of the axle of the wheel, there was also a device for blowing wind between the clouds and the water. The front part was left to be pulled by a horse. Needless to say, they would be able to move around in this house in the future. In addition to the small stainless steel wheel that could be pushed by people, there was also a big wheel with a carriage bar. The craftsman greeted Zhang Zhong and his wife and ran to the side of the house to get busy. When they were installing the wheel, they spread another kind of gum in the cracks of the house. Then they put a pig's bubble on the top and wrapped it with a layer of leather. Then they nailed a fold to the four eaves of the house and fixed a steel bar with a small wheel on the fold to follow the pattern of the house. "What are you doing?" Zhang Zhong couldn't think of the function of these things. In reply to Master, the young master and young lady are worried that if the house falls, it will hurt the young master and young lady inside. So they use the fold to fix the steel bar. As long as the house falls, the steel bar will open and hold the house. The pig's bubble on the top is to prevent the house from falling into the water, so it is coated with gum to seal it. Even if the house falls in, there is no need to worry about leakage. The wheel is naturally easy to move, and with the shock absorber iron plate, the young master and young lady won't feel uncomfortable inside. The craftsman in the inner courtyard smiled and introduced the various functions. In fact, he was very envious of the young master and young lady. They were lucky to be born in a good family and have a house to play in. Zhang Zhong nodded. He also felt that Xiao Bao and Cuckoo had done a good job. They had considered everything that could be considered. However, he thought of something and asked, "If the air inside is used up, won't the children suffocate to death?" Used up? Master, how long will it take for the air to be used up? If such a big house is used up, the young master and young lady will suffocate to death. The servants of the Zhang family and Wang family won't need to live anymore. The people of the vigorous protection team will commit suicide. The 4 children won't suffocate to death even if they stay in there for 10 days. If they can't be rescued, they will starve to death first. In fact, the craftsman's leader had thought of this before. He even asked the young master and young lady. However, the young master said, "Is there no one to take care of my younger siblings? Will the house fall into the water by itself? Will the rescue take half a month? Then the people of the Zhang family and Wang family will die first. The guards will be the first to die." That's right. With the capability of the vigorous protection team 0, if they can't save the children, then the existence of the Zhang family and Wang family is meaningless. Zhang Zhong's face turned red. He felt that his question was too stupid. How could such a thing happen? Besides, this house was made of wood. There was nothing heavy in it, and it was sealed well. If it fell into the water, it would float on the water. It could be used as a boat. How could there be an accident? After the craftsman's leader answered this question, he asked someone to bring in a cross-shaped frame made of stainless steel. He measured it, as if he was going to put it inside. This time, before Zhang Zhong asked, he directly said, "Master, this is to be put in the house. When the time comes, a strong string will be used to pull out the net. The walls inside will be thickened with cotton. There will be a separate net connected to the frame in each room. No matter which end of the frame hits the ground first, it won't break." The young master and young lady said that the frame must be intact even if they fall from a height of 20 feet. When the time comes, no matter which room the young master and young lady play in, they won't fall to death. Chapter 538. Looking at the 3-story house in front of them, the Zhang Wang clan and Zhang Zhong were speechless for a moment. With all kinds of protective measures, it could no longer be described as luxurious. It was simply extravagant. Go, call Xiaobao and Cuckoo over. Zhang Zhong was a little worried. He was not afraid that when the children grew up, they would compete with each other for the family property. The two older children did not bother to compete. They had the ability to earn more money, but the four children were not qualified to compete. Whether it was the ability to earn money or the calculation of each other, they were not as good as the older children. He was worried that Xiaobao and Cuckoo would spoil their younger siblings too much. They were only 3 months old, and the amount of money spent on them was more than what most people could earn in their lifetime. When they grew up and learned how to spend money, he would pluck the stars even if he wanted to pluck the stars. No, definitely not. If the four hedonistic sons of rich parents like this, the Zhangwang clan would be finished. He had to have a good talk with his son and daughter-in-law. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan indeed had nothing to do. All kinds of plans had been made, and they were just waiting for things to come slowly. At this time, they were making clothes for their younger siblings. They had cotton and good bamboo paper. At first, the two of them discussed making diapers, but later, they felt that pure cotton diapers were better. Only lazy people would use diapers, not to mention that their skills were not up to par. Wang Wan pushed Zhang Xiaobao away to study the rubber band. She herself made some sanitary pads for the women in the family. Zhang Xiaobao resisted a little and told Wang Wan that all female products were designed and made by men. In the end, he was still driven out. Without rubber, Zhang Xiaobao used animal tendons to make loose clothes for his younger siblings. Especially after 6 months, when they moved to a new place, they would wear pajamas when the weather was cold. Not only did they have to be comfortable, they also had to draw patterns on them. They also had to design small pockets on the outer clothes to practice the flexibility of their fingers. When the people sent by Zhang Zhong found the two of them, Zhang Xiaobao had already drawn the design of the socks by himself. The design was made with the thinnest animal tendons mixed with cotton thread. The main reason was that Zhang Xiaobao did not know how to make the socks elastic. When Wang Wan and Zhang Xiaobao arrived in front of the house, each of them was holding a large design blueprint. Xiaobao Cuckoo, tell mother, how much did this house cost? Zhang Wang clan sat on a chair and hugged her son and daughter-in-law. The two children were more than 8 years old, but they looked like 12 or 13 years old people. No matter who saw them, they would like them. Mother, it didn't cost much. This house is not for playing. If you just want to play, you can just make some toys. It can also be used to help your younger siblings exercise. You can use it to flip, climb, and sit. You can put all kinds of small objects inside and let your younger siblings familiarize themselves with the layout. Mother, don't worry. Cuckoo and I will not spoil our younger siblings. We must let them know what it means to suffer. We must let them know that life is not easy. At the same time, we must cultivate their noble temperament. Xiaobao understood when he heard his mother's words. He quickly promised. Zhang Wang clan nodded with satisfaction. She kissed her son and daughter-in-law's face. When she saw the things in their arms, she asked curiously, Xiaobao, Cuckoo, what are these? Cuckoo opened the blueprint and explained. Nothing, just clothes. They need to be worn to absorb sweat and keep warm. They also need to be comfortable cotton clothes. It takes a little effort to make them. Xiaobao has a wide rubber band. It doesn't need to be tied or buckled. It can be put on in one set. It's very convenient, and you don't have to worry about leaving marks. This is a belly band and socks. The belly band is simple. It just needs to be tied. The socks can be worn on the feet to prevent catching a cold. There are also cloth shoes with multi-layer soles. This is a small bell. It's made for the younger siblings. They need to know the difference between men and women since they were young. They need to be able to blow a whistle with different tones to train their lung capacity. This is a special mud with oil added. We need to get someone to look for it carefully. When the younger siblings are a few months older, we'll let them play with the mud. It must not be poisoned. Even if they eat it, they can't let anything happen to them. This is... Zhang Wang clan was silent as she listened. Xiaobao just said that he wouldn't spoil them. Now he took out all kinds of things that she had never heard of. If this wasn't spoiling them, then what was? Nonsense. If we let them enjoy from a young age, how will they know the hardships of the common people when they grow up? Zhang Zhong's face darkened. He felt that this was too much. It was fine if his children lived a better life, but if Xiao Bao and Cuckoo did what they did, then it wouldn't be as simple as just a little better life. Everything seemed normal, but if one thought about it carefully, they would realize that none of them were simple. Just like what his son and daughter-in-law said, the details determine success or failure. Starting from a small place, the 4 children who didn't know any better were already enjoying things that even the children in the palace couldn't get. How could this be? Zhang Xiaobao refuted his father for the first time. Father, how are you messing around? This is called protection. Everything can make the younger siblings more comfortable. The hardships of the common people don't need to be told, but the younger siblings also have to suffer. When they grow up, we'll bring them to live in a normal family more often. The style of an aristocratic family isn't a car made of gold. That's called a nouveau riche. Nurturing them in detail is a real aristocratic family. When the younger siblings grow up, even if the clothes they wear are a little old and the food they eat is a little simpler, the materials and design of the clothes must not be bad. Father, it's not like you don't know that children die young easily. How can you not be careful? So what if they're the children of the royal family? Don't look at the royal family. They also know how to take care of children. I won't allow my younger siblings to be in danger because of some details that they can't take care of. The way people take care of children nowadays is too backward. Wang Wan also nodded vigorously at the side. It was normal for children to die young nowadays. The family could accept the death of 2 out of 5 children, but it was absolutely unacceptable for her and Zhang Xiaobao. When she and Zhang Xiaobao were still young, the probability of 2 out of 5 children dying was unacceptable, let alone 2 out of 5 children dying. The people here were used to it, but she and Xiaobao couldn't get used to it. If one day, because the 2 of them didn't do their best, 4 children died, the pain was unimaginable. Jiang Wang clan saw that her son and daughter-in-law were serious, and suddenly thought of something else. She said to Zhang Zhong, "Husband, don't worry about it. Xiao Bao and Cuckoo naturally have their reasons for doing things. For example, cement and glass." When she spoke, Jiang Wang clan winked at Zhang Zhong. Zhang Zhong was stunned for a moment and suddenly shivered. He didn't mention whether or not they were used to it. He thought of his son and daughter-in-law's other identity, Little Fairy. Little Fairy insisted on making things for the 4 children. It was very likely that she knew that the 4 children would be in danger. If he stopped her, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan didn't know about this. Seeing that the 2 of them didn't object, they were relieved and went back to study the diet. The diet was more challenging. They had to ensure that there was enough protein, calcium, and iodine, and the ratio of fine grains and coarse food had to be adjusted. Xiao Bao, protein, is easy. Lean meat, fish, eggs, and milk are all the children's favorite. You have to put a little less oil. The main thing is vegetables. How can they be willing to eat vegetables? Wang Wan began to worry when she thought of the food. In this era, it was a blessing not to have to worry about eating meat, but it was not good to eat meat all the time. Zhang Xiaobao had already considered this problem. It's easy. Tell them a story. In the story, teach them to eat vegetables. Also, eat pancakes and make soup. If they don't drink soup, they won't be able to eat pancakes. Make salted vegetables. It's still too early. They can't eat them now. In the future, when adults eat, let them watch at the side and get used to eating meat and vegetables. Also, make coarse grains. If we can find corn, sweet potatoes, and potatoes, we can make snacks for them. Zhang Xiaobao added, "That won't do. Fried fries can easily make people sick. When I was young, Grandpa Dean taught me a way to eat it. It is to set up a stove in the house in winter with a chimney. Put a wire mesh on top, make a piece of noodles or cut potato slices, and roast them directly on top. It's delicious. You can eat it when you're hungry. I'll roast 2 balls of noodles for you to try later. I don't want to eat it. You were poor when you were young. Everything is delicious. I'm going to design a set of underwear. Do you think there is a market? Seeing that the food problem was solved, Wang Wan changed the topic and began to look for new ways to make money. Zhang Xiaobao immediately nodded. Yes, there is a market, a high-end market. Look at the things people wear now. No matter how many styles they learn from other places, they can't compare to what we have in our time. First, make the normal ones and give them to others for free. Later, we will make the sexy ones. You men are all bad. You only think about that kind of thing in your head. Wang Wan curled her lips. Aren't we talking about business? Why are we talking about gender discrimination? Men are particular about dying for those who understand them. Women are particular about dressing up for those who love them. Only male peacocks spread their tails, okay? Yes, so they can only be eaten. Since when do male peacocks need to spread their tails? Let's do it and sell it to the brothels first. Zhang Xiaobao found that if he continued to talk about it, he would enter the realm of philosophy. Okay, let's give it to the women in the brothels first. It's very ironic that what women like to wear depends on what men want to see. The matriarchal clan is gone forever. Even if Wang Wan didn't admit it, she already knew that the social status of women had always been dependent on men. Zhang Xiaobao knew more about this. That's because social status depends on productivity. Whoever can obtain more survival resources will have a higher status. I am very disgusted by the situation where men still want to show their male dignity when the women in the family can earn more money. That is to say, the overall productivity of society has increased. Otherwise, he would have been eliminated long ago. Dignity is not so easy to obtain. Zhang Xiaobao, I couldn't tell that you were really a man. Come, according to your man's taste, which underwear is the best? Let's not talk about the taste first. As Wang Wan spoke, she placed a few blueprints in front of Zhang Xiaobao and asked him to help her choose. Zhang Xiaobao looked at them one by one and pointed at one of them. This one is tightly wrapped and laced. It's the kind that can be hollowed out in the future. Just as Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan began to look at the underwear, the governor of Qinzhou, Ning Zizhong, started to get busy. To be precise, he was anxious. After he wrote the memorial, he found that the most dilapidated land in Qinzhou didn't have a large amount of baidizi, as he expected. The empty land was being plowed over and over again, and a large amount of water was being diverted to wash it. He understood what they were doing. They were washing the soil. They had to wash the alkali soil before they could plant things properly. After the manure and food stalks were buried, he felt that it was too early for him to write the report. If the Zhang family didn't plant white piles of rice, then his report of impeachment would easily get him into trouble. Quickly find someone to chase after the memorial and get it back. Just as Ning Zizhong was worried, he saw the housekeeper rush in. He thought that the housekeeper had also discovered that something was wrong, so he ordered loudly, Get it back? Master, it's too late. Master, put the memorial aside first. Something big has happened. Our business in other places has been suppressed. The cloth sellers can't sell a single bolt of cloth. As long as they sell, they lose money. Other than the passers-by in the restaurants, the locals don't go to the restaurants to eat. As for the shops that sell grain, the people who send grain to us have stopped. The price of grain is exactly the same as our purchase price. Master, quickly think of something. There is still news from further places that haven't come. I think it's the same. The housekeeper held a few pieces of paper in his hand and said anxiously, Chapter 539. Li Sheng was a very ordinary waiter. He had never been to a place more than 100 miles away from his hometown. The furthest he had been to at the age of 17 was Xiangling County, which couldn't be compared to Linfen. Linfen, where he lived, was the capital of Jinzhou. It was prosperous. Yes, everyone said so. The surrounding counties were poor, and the people living in the surrounding counties were naturally ignorant. Yes, ignorant. There was actually someone who didn't know that this place belonged to Hudong Road. Even the failed high scholar in Xiangling County was not as knowledgeable as the bookkeeper of Nanfeng Restaurant. What did the bookkeeper know about the sea? He knew that there were huge fish in the sea, but the failed high scholar didn't know. He had been a waiter at Nanfeng restaurant for 4 years and was busy every day. In the whole of Linfeng, only Nanfeng restaurant could eat all kinds of seafood. They used boats, carriages, and horses to transport them. Baskets of dried goods were soaked in water, and when the time came, they would become delicacies. Usually, when he was busy, he always hoped to be more relaxed. Not only him, but the other waiter was also like this. But now that he was really free, he realized that it was better to be busy. Except for the people who occasionally came to Jin province, the people who used to eat here didn't come anymore. Not to mention that there was no reward. Yesterday the shopkeeper even said that if this continued, he wouldn't even be able to get his monthly salary. It was all because of the 3 restaurants with the same name, Between the Clouds and the Water, that appeared in the prefecture just now. He didn't know where the 3 restaurants got the seafood from. They were the same price, but it was said that the food was 100 times better than Nanfeng restaurant. In addition, the waiter was wearing the same clothes, and it was said that all of them were literate. In an instant, the local rich people were attracted to them. Why? 3 restaurants with the same name in the prefecture city. Who came up with this bad idea? Could they still make money? If no customers came, the shopkeeper would probably fire all the waiter next month. He didn't know where to find a job, and he couldn't read. Between the Clouds and the Water was really too free. What was the use of having a waiter who could read? Wasn't he still a waiter? Li Sheng, there are guests. Why aren't you going to greet them? How can you get paid sitting at the door like a fool? Come over quickly. Hearing the shouts in the restaurant, Li Sheng broke free from his thoughts and hurriedly ran in. He casually put the cloth used to wipe the table on his shoulder and, just like before, put on a flattering smile. What would you like to eat? Li Sheng habitually wiped the table with a rag while glancing at the 4 guests. He knew they were from outside at first glance. Among the 4 people, 1 was old and the other 3 were young. The old man Wei Wei closed his eyes and didn't say anything. The young man sitting next to him looked at the waiter and then at the rag. He frowned. How long has it been since you washed this rag? Also, the table beside it has been eaten by insects. It's not like this is a roadside wine shop. You're right, sir. I'll change to another one. The 4 of you, please sit at the table on the side. That one hasn't been eaten by insects. Li Sheng cursed in his heart. Which restaurant was not like this? However, he did not dare to say it out loud. He maintained the same smile as before to cater to those who found fault with him. After the 4 changed seats, Li Sheng took a new rag. The color was better than the previous one. He also wiped the table and asked, "What would you like to eat?" "We have." "No need." "For bowls of chicken and bamboo shoot soup and 2 light side dishes." The one who spoke just now did not wait for Li Sheng to introduce the dishes and directly ordered one. Li Sheng looked embarrassed. His smile was not as natural as before. He replied, "Sir, this is the South Wind restaurant. We specialize in seafood and nothing else. Would you like to change?" "Oh, then 4 bowls of shark's fin bird's nest soup and a plate of stir-fried fresh sea snails." This person was easy to talk to. He ordered whatever the restaurant served. "Ah, fresh sea snails? How about stir-fried sea snails?" Li Sheng's smile disappeared. He thought these 4 people were here to make trouble. Otherwise, who could order fresh sea snails and bring them here from afar? "What? You can't do it?" "Well, sir, the price of fresh sea snails is a bit high. Are you?" With a clatter, 4 strings of copper coins were taken out by another person and directly thrown on the table. Li Sheng was shocked. He didn't know why this person had more than 20 caddies of copper coins on him. He gritted his teeth and said honestly, "Sir, you are making things difficult for this little one. Who can transport a live conch to this place? We don't have any in this restaurant." "Then why are you talking about seafood? We came from the capital and ate live sea snails every day at Savant's restaurant. You don't have any here. No wonder you can't operate. Forget it. Just serve whatever soup you have. Any light side dish will be fine." This person looked at the old man when he spoke. The old man narrowed his eyes. Wei Wei nodded and settled down. Li Sheng was relieved and quickly went to arrange. After the soup was served, he stood aside and waited. Seeing the 4 people eating, he wanted to ask several times, but held back. The person who spoke just now drank half a bowl of soup. He estimated the old man's eating speed and slightly stopped to eat at the same time as the old man. Otherwise, it would be rude to eat first and let the old man eat first. He met the eyes of the waiter and asked, "Is there something wrong?" Nothing. I just want to ask, which savant's restaurant in the capital can really eat live sea snails? Li Sheng looked at the old man from time to time. He knew that among the 4 people, as long as the old man was satisfied, there was no need to worry. The person who stopped temporarily nodded and said, "Of course. Savant's restaurant belongs to Between the Clouds and the Water. Do you still need to say what Between the Clouds and the Water is capable of?" Between the clouds and the water? Between the clouds and the water again? Li Sheng now hated and yearned for the name Between the Clouds and the Water. Yes. You also know about Between the Clouds and the Water here? Yes. Between the Clouds and the Water opened 3 stores at the same time. They also specialize in selling seafood. Nanfeng Restaurant's business is getting worse and worse, Li Sheng replied bitterly. Oh. Between the Clouds and the Water here? If I had known, I would have gone to Between the Clouds and the Water. Although it's a little expensive, it's comfortable to eat. The cloth there is all white, and you can change it if you wipe it a little. Nanfeng Restaurant also sells seafood? I wonder if the owner's surname is Ning? This person's interest was piqued. The old man also stopped his already slow movements and opened his eyes slightly. Li Sheng's eyes widened even more. With a face full of doubt, he asked, "How did you know?" "The owner's surname is Ning." "That's right. Isn't the price of Between the Clouds and the Water here the same as Nanfeng Restaurants? I'm going to eat at Between the Clouds and the Water later." After this person finished speaking, he saw that the waiter was still puzzled. Perhaps it was because he could eat cheap food at Between the Clouds and the Water. So he kindly explained, "The owner of this restaurant has offended someone. Of all the people he could have offended, he just had to provoke the Zhang family of Sanshui County. His methods were so despicable that he even beat up one of their farmers. Between the Clouds and the Waters, revenge is coming, right? Listen to me and leave Nanfeng Restaurant quickly. Nanfeng Restaurant will be closed soon." What? One farmer was beaten up, and Nanfeng Restaurant attracted 3 seafood restaurants Between the Clouds and the Water? Is the life of a farmer so valuable? Li Sheng felt that this fact was more interesting than a live conch. Was the Zhang family's farmer made of jade? Not even for a moment. As if knowing what he was thinking, the person continued, "The situation here is complicated and simple at the same time. The head of the Zhang family is an official in the south, next to the head of the Ning family, and there are some conflicts between them. The Ning family couldn't deal with the head of the Zhang family, so they set their sights on the Zhang family's farmer. Less than 10 days after the fight, the Zhang family acted like a storm. Do you know why? The Zhang family is telling other people that if they have the ability to cause trouble, they should directly deal with the head of the Zhang family. Don't talk about the servants of the Zhang family. There is no difference between dealing with the Zhang family servants and dealing with the head of the Zhang family. The revenge will be the same. The Ning family is finished, and no one will speak up for the Ning family. The other merchants are only chosen because they have connections with the Zhang family. The people of the imperial court don't just look at who is rich, they look at who is more capable. When it comes to the ability of the Zhang family's master to govern, even 100 Ning Zhongzi can't compare to him. Listen to me and quickly change. Change to the water cloud room. So that's it? But will Between the Clouds and the Water want me? Li Sheng understood now. He couldn't change anything. When adults were fighting, it was better for children to stay away. Yes. You don't know how the Zhang family does things. No matter what kind of business they do, they will always look for the local people. They never directly bully a shop. They always work together first, unless the shop offends them. Even if it offends them, they are not afraid. If the shop is gone, the local workers will be taken over by the Zhang family. It is because of this that the imperial court doesn't care. The Zhang family doesn't only have a restaurant, but also a variety of other shops. When they open a shop, they will recruit local workers, even farmers. Wherever the Zhang family shop is, the lives of the people will be better. Go. Say that you are a worker of Nanfeng restaurant, and they will help you arrange it. If you do well, they might even let you take charge of the business and send you overseas to be a manager. As the man spoke, he picked up a piece of fried shrimps and put it on the old man's plate. He lowered his head and ate. Li Sheng didn't expect this result. After feeling happy, he suddenly reacted. "Sir, how do you know so clearly?" The man just smiled and didn't say anything. The workers working for the Ning family didn't have to worry, but the head of the Ning family in Qinzhou was worried. As long as the family's business wasn't in Qinzhou, all of them were attacked. Even if the news hadn't been sent back from further away, Ning Zhongzi didn't have the slightest bit of hope, especially the shops near the capital. That was the foundation of the Zhang family. If other places were being attacked, then the shops around the capital wouldn't escape. It's over. It's completely over. I don't even know if I can keep my official position. My status in the family is gone. After Ning Zhongzi received the news, he immediately knew the seriousness of the matter. He looked at the housekeeper, standing there respectfully. This time, he really couldn't push the blame to the housekeeper. In the past, the family clearly knew what was going on and tacitly agreed. Now that all the shops in the family were being attacked, the family wouldn't be satisfied with just the housekeeper. What should I do? What should I do? Ning Zhongzi sat there, paralyzed, and kept muttering the same words. The housekeeper sighed. He didn't expect the Zhang family to react so fiercely. They were willing to lose money to destroy the Ning family's business. Originally, he wanted to use this method to force the Zhang family to compromise. In the end, the Zhang family didn't have the heart to do so. The old master couldn't be defeated. If the old master was defeated, he would be finished as well. "Master, why don't I go to the head of the family and tell them it was my idea? Master, you can write a memorial and say good things about Zhang Zhong. Also, you can ask the imperial court to allow you to learn from Lu Zhou and compromise with Zhang Zhong. Lu Zhou's construction is almost done. It's time for Zhang Zhong to leave. After he leaves, won't the old master have the final say? It's useless. Zhang Zhong has already made his move. In order to suppress us, the Zhang family lost so much money. How can they agree to let go? If it were you, would you do it? If it were before, it would be fine. Besides, I've already sent the memorial. Zhang Zhong is waiting for an opportunity. Finally, it's in his hands. I don't understand. Zhang Zhong is taking care of the lives of the local people, collecting local specialties for his family, opening a few new businesses, and Lu Zhou's construction. How can he find the time to deal with me? I used one plan after another, but Zhang Zhong didn't worry at all. He solved it easily. I don't think he's going against me. It's as if he's playing with me. Let's go all out. I'll lead the army and say there's a fugitive. Let's see if Zhang Zhong is still in the mood to play with me. Zhang Zhongzi steeled his heart and wanted to take the risk. Master, you can't do that. You can't lead the army. You'll fall into Zhang Zhong's trap. Even if he's afraid, the imperial court won't allow it. Master, think twice. Master, why don't you spend more money and send it to the people in the imperial court so that they can get rid of Zhang Zhong as soon as possible? The housekeeper advised as he gave the idea. Chapter 540. Ning Zhongzi finally adopted a method that the steward didn't think was a good idea. He ordered his people to stop trading outside. As for how much they would lose in the end, he didn't know now. In short, they would lose money as long as they stayed outside. Zhang Xiaobao didn't treat the Ning family as an opponent from the beginning. This kind of family was already old. The change of dynasty had changed many aristocratic families. If it was a third-ranked official from the imperial court, perhaps he would be interested in a fight. Those people were all shrewd, just like Old Man Bai. If he himself did not want to fall into the trap, it would be useless no matter how one tried to trick him. He could endure it, and he could endure it forever. Enduring for 8 to 10 years was not considered long. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan made a lot of things for their younger brothers and sisters. Basically, they could use them until they were 4 years old. After that, what they would continue to make would depend on the hobbies of the 4 little guys. Hobbies didn't appear out of thin air. They had to let the children see all kinds of strange things so that they could choose one. If they were forced to cultivate them, it was simple. When they played from a young age, they would only be exposed to one kind of thing. There was a high probability that the child would choose that as the most interesting thing. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan, who had put down the work of making things, received news that the fleet had returned. 6 ships had returned, and the rest were still on the island. The people they sent out came back very easily. It seemed that the harvest was good, and there weren't any casualties. The steward who followed the Zhang family was called Zhang Xingjia. When he saw Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan, he put the package on his back on the table. Just as he was about to speak, Li Sun, who had received the news, rushed in hurriedly and asked as soon as he saw him, "How was it? How many people did you kill? Did you raise the prestige of the Tang Empire? How are the casualties?" Zhang Xingjia was stunned by Li Sun's series of questions until Li Sun ran over and drank the water in the teacup. Then he said, "Young master, young lady, young masterly, we didn't kill a single person. The people who went last time didn't even see the people they met last time. Maybe they were hiding somewhere and ran away when they saw that there were so many of us. The rest of the locals were very peaceful. They were also very happy when they exchanged things with us. A fishing net made of cotton thread with a radius of 1 zhang could be exchanged for 5 stones as such, or that they found. That's it." As Zhang Xingjia spoke, he took out a piece of, or from his bag. After thinking for a while, he took out another one. Zhang Xiaobao, Wang Wan, and Li Sun stared at each other. They didn't know what kind of ore these 2 stones belonged to. "This is?" Li Sun took the ore and waited a few times before asking in a long voice, "This is gold ore, and the other is copper ore." Seeing that they took it out so easily, it's obvious that there are more ores on the island, and they are easy to mine. I don't know how much they can refine. A fishing net can be exchanged for so much, Zhang Xingjia explained. He also asked someone after getting off the boat. Li Sun wasn't afraid of being poisoned. He kissed the gold ore with his mouth and said excitedly to Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan, "Xiaobao cuckoo, we're rich. We're rich. A fishing net made of cotton and twine can be exchanged for so much. Look at the weight. Normal stones can't be so heavy." Zhang Xiaobao really didn't care about the gold ore. It was useless now, and was usually used to make jewelry. The copper ore was good. As long as there were enough of it, they didn't have to worry about the 5 punishments. They could replace the coins that messed up the economy and ensure the purchasing power of the copper coins. No one would destroy the copper coins and cast copper wares. This was not what he cared about the most. It didn't matter whether they had money or not. The most important thing was food. The Kaiyuan era wasn't really prosperous yet. Before the new seeds of food were cultivated and planted in large quantities, getting food from other places was the best way to solve the problem of people's livelihood. Otherwise, they would be poor if they had money but didn't have food. He didn't know if the high-yield food he grew in Sanshui County would be lower or higher after the seeds were made. He thought that the people of the imperial government's agriculture temple had already paid attention to it. He hoped that they could find more ways to increase the production. Zhang Xingjia seemed to know what the young master and the young lady were most concerned about. Seeing that the 2 of them didn't attach much importance to the ores, he immediately said, "Young master, young lady, there is a lot of food on the island. They also know how to farm. They don't all stay in the mountains. There are a lot of flat land. They don't know how to farm, so they directly plant. But I don't know why the rice yield in the fields they plant is not less than the rice yield in the seeds sold by the Zhang family. That place is hot. Look, I'm tanned. It's estimated that they can plant it 3 times a year. The taste may not be the same, but it's edible. On the boat back, there are 2 boats. Young master and young lady. You can go and have a look later. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan were satisfied. Even if it's bad, it's fine if people don't like to eat it. It can be used to feed pigs, cows, and sheep, especially pigs. It's very good. With more oil, it's not so expensive for people to eat food. Next time we go there, we can find grass and trees that we haven't seen before and bring them back to have a look. Maybe we can find good herbs or good wood. At this time, Wang Wan leisurely picked up another piece of copper ore and weighed it in her hand. It would be better if there was good grass that grew quickly and could be used to feed cows and sheep. She didn't mean to bring the grass back, but to bring the cows and sheep there to raise. When the time came, they would kill the cows and sheep and bring back the meat and skin. If they really found good grass and there was no place to plant it here, they would really bring back ships and specially cultivate cows. They would either directly feed the children or make milk slices and dry them to make milk powder that didn't taste good and be transported further away. Zhang Xiaobao was thinking about another thing. Seeing that Wang Wan and Li Sun were both thinking about different things, he asked, "Have you found a suitable place to build the dock? Can the local people communicate well?" Replying to little young master, "The dock is simple. I see that the surrounding coast can be built. Does little young master want to hire the locals there to help?" Zhang Xingjia understood immediately. Seeing that little young master nodded, he said, "But it's not very convenient to communicate with the locals. They can't understand what we're saying, and we can't understand what they're saying. When we exchange things, we use gestures. We first put the fishing net on the ground and make space for them to come over and see. Then they happily let people take the oar. Little young master, I think it's fine to let them take the shell fragrance, hawksbill turtles, and corals in the sea. There's no need to give them better things. Oh, right. Think of a way to let them learn the local language. Cotton is still valuable now. If we can't give them that, what will we use to pay them back? How about pottery? You brought a lot of it. Did you exchange it for good things?" Zhang Xiaobao's eyes lit up. The people on the island were poor. If you gave them something, they would feel that it was good. They couldn't distinguish the value at all. This was a good opportunity to bully them. In fact, it wasn't bullying. When Zhang Xingjia heard that it was pottery, he immediately replied, "Little young master, you don't know. Pottery is good. We didn't exchange many, only 10. In the end, we got 2 ships of rice. 5 is 1 ship. We're rich. The ships will stop there. The pottery won't be gone in a short time." Good. Your work is really reassuring. With the pottery, they can cook food. Does that mean we need to put oil in it? Next time, bring some soybean oil. You guys can do a demonstration for them to see and taste. After that, change the oil. You can't give them too much pottery. Zhang Xiaobao was satisfied. It wasn't because of how many things they exchanged, but because the people who went knew how to control it. But when he thought about the exchange, Zhang Xiaobao began to worry. If the merchants of the Jiangnan East Road saw this situation, would they disrupt the market? The rarer something was, the more valuable it was. In order to get more gold and copper, they would most likely not care about the commercial value of the goods and casually exchange them with others. No, definitely not allow merchants to bring any non-consumable goods over. Bring some spices. It smells good and can be used to make delicious food, especially MSG. We can sell it to the merchants first and let them exchange it. Zhang Xiaobao, who originally wanted to let the merchants do their own thing, changed his mind. He didn't want to follow the original plan. There must be restrictions. Spices were good things. In the past, some Europeans even put spices on their bodies to show their identity. It could be seen how precious spices were. Wang Wan put down the oars and pondered for a while. She pulled Zhang Xiaobao and left. "Let's go find Grandpa Zhang and Grandpa Bai and ask them for help. Just like you said, non-consumable goods can't appear on the island in large quantities. I think they will use pottery very carefully. It's too difficult to break one. They won't need it when they have more." Zhang Xiaobao turned back and took the 2 oars in his hands. Old Man Chang and Old Man Pai had nothing to do. They were playing billiards with a group of old men. 10 people surrounded a case and were divided into 2 groups. They didn't feel that the waiting time was long. It was hard to understand why they were so excited. Grandpa Zhang, Grandpa, Bai, are you guys playing? Zhang Xiaobao smiled and greeted them. When Old Man Chang and Old Man Pai saw that Xiaobao and Cuckoo came over, they knew that the 2 of them had something to discuss. They gave the opportunity to others and led Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan to a secluded place to rest. Old Man Zhang picked up a small abalone that was specially used as a snack from the small table and threw it into his mouth. He gently chewed it twice and asked, Xiaobao, is there something difficult to do? Well, this abalone is not bad. Zhang Xiaobao curled his lips. Of course it's not bad. Except for the nursing home. No other place can enjoy such treatment. He put down the 2 oars in his hands and said there should be a lot of gold and copper ores there. There are a few things that can be exchanged. Pottery and porcelain are also fine. A net made of cotton thread. Also, I thought of spices and soybean oil. Grandpa Zhang, which one do you think is suitable for exchange? Do you still need to ask? Of course it's spices and soybean oil. Anything that can be grown will disappear as soon as it's eaten. How long will it take to refine pottery and porcelain? Oh, I understand. Are you afraid that someone will bring a lot of pottery and porcelain? It seems that we have to ask the imperial court for an order. I will write a letter right away. Chapter 541. Old Man Pai hastily wrote a few letters and sent them out. Only then did he feel relieved. He asked Zhang Xiaobao to tell his family to settle the matter first. There was no need to wait for the imperial court's decree. Just as he was thinking about this, the merchants from the Jiangnan East Road arrived. They could not have been waiting at the seaside not far from Luzhou. It was also impossible for them to send someone to wait here and deliver the news. Unless they could fly, it was impossible for them to arrive so quickly. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan immediately rushed home and asked Zhang Zhong to inform the merchants of the Jiangnan East Road about this matter. Initially, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan were slightly worried that the merchants would not agree. They were afraid that they would pretend to agree while secretly doing the trade. In the end, before Zhang Zhong could finish his words, the merchants from the Jiangnan East Road understood what he meant. They all promised that they would not trade any non-consumable items. They seemed very united. Fortunately, they even wrote a written agreement. Now, we don't have to worry about them breaking the rules. Wang Wan heaved a sigh of relief when she heard about this. That's right. The status of merchants nowadays is low. Moreover, this is a big deal. It's not like the merchants in the economic wave who would tear each other apart. In that case, we'll give them a cheaper price for the soybean oil in the future. We won't charge them too much. I wonder if they'll build a refinery for gold and copper on the island. How do you think they purify the gold? They can't just throw the ores into the furnace and burn them, right? At the very least, they'll have to add other chemical materials. Zhang Xiaobao was very satisfied with the merchants from the Jiangnan East Road. Suddenly, he thought about the refining process. Who knows? We'll find out if we ask. It shouldn't be difficult. It's the same for the refining of the silver as well. Xiaobao, is there any news from the Ning family? Wang Wan was not very concerned about the problem of refining. She and Zhang Xiaobao did not need it for the time being. The 2 of them were not prepared to put their hands on the minerals, even if the minerals were very valuable. Zhang Xiaobao originally didn't want to mention the Ning family, but after hearing Wang Wan mention it, he pondered for a while. That depends on what the imperial court thinks. Ning Zhongze was falsely accused, and the things he did in the past year were a little too much. But I don't think Li Longji would kill him in one go. Zhang Xiaobao felt that if he was in Ning Zhongze's shoes, he wouldn't kill Ning Zhongze either. This had nothing to do with whether he had committed a crime or not. The main thing was that Qinzhou was part of the Lingnan circuit. The Ning family already had a strong foundation in this area. Making a move here wouldn't do the imperial court any good. Moreover, the main focus of the imperial court was not on Qin province, but on Luzhou. After some competition, they would know who would become an official in Luzhou. The only thing they could be sure of was that Chao, Herue, and the other two would not be able to run away. It was not that they did not want to cooperate with their father, but they were now occupying a position that they should not occupy. The magistrate position was also a very important position. Then, should we let them go? After all, their businesses have all been retracted. It can be said that their vitality has been greatly damaged. It would take at least 8 to 10 years for them to regain their original scale. Wang Wan was a little dispirited. After all they gained was a reputation that would make people think twice about messing with the Zhang family in the future. Moreover, they had lost money. They had killed 1,000 enemies, but they had lost 800 of their own. They did not gain any economic advantage. Zhang Xiaobao clearly did not want to let the Ning family off so easily. He tapped his face lightly with his hand. When Wang Wan saw Zhang Xiaobao's actions, she perked up. She was waiting for Zhang Xiaobao to come up with an idea. It's not good to always sell high-end goods, especially furniture. Let's sell some low-end ones. Even the slightly wealthy people have to enjoy it. Let's get someone to make some simple furniture that is the same as the high-end ones. We'll ship them to the south of the Yangtze River and sell them there. That's it. Zhang Xiaobao only said one sentence and did not explain further. However, Wang Wan knew that it must have something to do with the Ning family. She just did not know how to use it. Xiaobao, it's up to you to decide. Let's go and see the little ones. It's time to send them to the house to play. Wang Wan was worried about her younger siblings. 2 days later, the merchants of the Jiangnan East Road set off. They were very obedient. The total number of ships was recorded in the records. There was nothing like what they had imagined. Perhaps the merchants now knew their identity and status and would not go against the government. The ships were loaded with soybean oil and spices. They were prepared to trade for ores. If the ores were suitable for refining, they would bring the craftsmen to the island to obtain the materials directly. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan were very satisfied with this. After all, they had to pollute the environment. It was better to pollute other places than to pollute their own place. After sending them off, the merchants who had joined the Luzhou's Chamber of Commerce from other places came to the Chamber of Commerce to discuss matters. They seemed very nervous. After asking around, they found out that the merchants and civilians of the other provinces in Lianzhou had been tricked. It seems like the people from the Five Lakes Chamber of Commerce are getting smarter. They won't let others keep fish. Can they make a move? Write their identities and send it to the court. We'll see how the court will protect the Ning family. Wang Wan knew what was going on after she heard the report from the people in the Chamber of Commerce. The people from the Five Lakes Chamber of Commerce could not deceive Luzhou. Unwilling to give up, they tried to deceive others. In the end, they succeeded in deceiving several places. Wang Wan felt that this was an opportunity to make the Ning family unable to make a comeback. Zhang Xiaobao, on the other hand, had his own concerns. Wei Wei shook her head and said, "No, who's going to write the memorial? Neither my father nor grandfather can do it. The court isn't a fool. It's not good for them to stretch their hands too far. How about this? Have someone spread the news quietly. I don't want the Ning family to be caught and executed, but I'll make it difficult for them to do anything. They're not afraid of offending people, right? Let's just let them offend one person. They've already offended the surrounding provinces. Does the Ning family still want to do business elsewhere? There's no need to rush. Even if the court doesn't touch them this time, when Luzhou's new officials arrive and settle down, the Ning family will be finished." Zhang Xiaobao was a man of action. The news spread quickly. Naturally, the Ning family would not admit to it. They anxiously called the people from the Five Lakes Chamber of Commerce back. They actually had 20,000 strings of cash. When the Ning family received the 20,000 strings of cash, they had completely offended the other party. Zhang Xiaobao hastily sent a message to the surrounding provinces through the Luzhou Chamber of Commerce. He told them to plant soybeans in the bad land first. After 2 years, they would immediately plant cotton. Even if the land was saline alkali soil, it would not be a problem. Moreover, soybeans could also be sold to the merchants in Jiangnan. He also told the other provinces about the method of combining raising pigs, ducks, fish, and vegetables. The fish was not valuable, especially the people who lived near the sea. If they wanted to eat fish, they could just catch it themselves. However, pork and ducks were valuable. Even the extra vegetables were also valuable. The Luzhou Chamber of Commerce collected vegetables. The fresh ones could be transported, dried, or shaded. Each had its uses. This was especially true for people who went out to sea. They could bring more dried vegetables. When the time came, they would grow after soaking them in water. Although some of the nutrients would be lost during the drying process, most of the nutrients would be retained. This was the method Zhang Xiaobao had always used. They worked together to get what they needed. After knowing about the combination of poultry, livestock, fish, and vegetables, one would not find it difficult. Even if there were some details in the process that needed to be adjusted, it was just there. One could understand the general idea after looking at it. However, the surrounding provinces were very grateful to the Luzhou Chamber of Commerce. Many things were not difficult after knowing about it, but when they did not know about it, they would not have thought of it. Although the people in the places where the Zhang family went had a good life, the ordinary people in other places did not have much meat, especially pork. Apart from disliking the dirty habits of pigs, there was also another reason. Pigs also had to be fed with food. After all, there was not much pigweed. Even if there was, they could not always feed it to the pigweed. Zhang Xiaobao decided to do good deeds to the end. In places where there was a shallow bay, he even had people use nets to plan the area. He caught sea chickens, which were also known as sandworms, and raised them. He made a small amount of seawater oxidize to provide enough food for the sandworms. The locals did not like to eat sandworms. Like worms, they were usually sold as cheap medicinal herbs. However, Zhang Xiaobao needed them. Using sandworms to decoct monosodium glutamate was the same as using kelp. The effect was better than using kelp. He had always had the recipe in his hands. When the time came, he would buy it at a higher price. This was the last thing Zhang Xiaobao could do for the locals. It was already October. If it was in the north, some places would even have light snow. It was not very cold here, so it was fine to put on an extra layer of clothing. The imperial court's commendation came first, praising Zhang Zhonghao. The better the praises, the closer Zhang Xiaobao would be to his departure. Perhaps the official who would take over his position was already on the way. The Ning family received the imperial court's decree as well. Apart from being severely reprimanded, they were also fined 2 years of their salary. The fine was not much, and the Ning family did not care. Compared to the money they lost when the Zhang family attacked them, the fine was just a drop in the bucket. The imperial court was expressing their dissatisfaction with Ning Zhongzi. They wanted Ning Zhongzi to pay the same rent as the previous years. In other words, the Ning family would have to pay for the rent that was not enough. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan did everything they should do. They spent more energy on their younger siblings. Although the change in the weather was not that big, the two of them were still a little worried. The 4 little ones were not like the 2 of them. When they came, they were already 10 months old. Moreover, they knew what was wrong with them and could find a way to adjust. The children could not even speak now. They ate and slept. Occasionally, they would laugh and cry. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan were very envious. This was what childhood should be like. After throwing the 4 little guys into the house, they started to play there. They could often see one of the little guys running from the 3rd floor to the 1st floor in one breath. Then they would look outside through the glass and laugh foolishly. Now, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan's biggest hobby was to send the 4 babies into the house and then observe them from outside. Needless to say, the little guys liked all the places designed by Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan very much, especially the youngest sister. The place she liked to go the most was the platform that could swing back and forth. Her little butt would twist and turn, and she even knew how to use force to make the platform swing more. Go and experience it. We're leaving soon by boat. Don't get seasick. Wang Wan tapped on the glass with her hand. The four little guys heard the news. Soon they found the place. One of them even climbed from the first floor to the third floor. Through the glass, he opened his eyes wide and looked out curiously. From time to time, he would pat the glass with his little hand. Saliva kept dripping down from the corner of his mouth. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan's mother accompanied them outside. Now, the four little guys had to stay in the house for 8 hours every day. They liked it here. Compared to the warmth in the south, most of the leaves in the capital had fallen. The cold wind blew from time to time. Even if they wore 2 layers of clothes, they would still shiver from the cold. The poor were used to the changes in weather. The rich had a better life. They could change clothes back and forth. Even if it snowed heavily, they didn't have to worry about the cold. Some were in a good mood and could even walk around. The Minister of Works, Lu Jiro, belonged to the rich. There were still 2 months until the end of the year. At this time, there was not much work, so he was relatively idle. He took LV Yenzhua and wandered on the water with a boat. It was the river that led to Shao Luoshui. At this time, the river was not frozen yet. They had to wait until other places were frozen before they could stop the boat. The main reason was that when winter came, they would collect tolls from the merchants who passed by. This money was not collected casually. After it was collected, it was used to hire the surrounding people to help remove the frozen ice from the river. When the weather was cold again, it was time to harvest ice. In the summer, they could sell it to the cold storage on both sides of the river and make a lot of money. Lord Lu, when Zhang Zhong comes back, where is he going to be arranged? LV Yenzhua rubbed his face that was a little numb from the wind and asked Lu Jiro. He still didn't understand how Zhang Zhong had such great ability. He should have been sent away. In the end, after the disaster, not only did he not rush back like the officials who had been sent away, he even used more than a year to govern the place. He had to admit that the Zhang family's ability was not small. However, he still remembered Zhang Zhong's attitude towards him and wanted to do something bad. How could Lu Jiro not know what he was thinking? If it were someone else, they might have been schemed against. Unfortunately, he met Zhang Zhong. The Zhang family had a master. It hasn't been decided yet. I don't think it will be decided before the new year. Zhang Zhong has to come back for the new year. He snatched many people from Luzhou. Will the imperial court pretend that they didn't see it? They must be rewarded. The Zhang family doesn't lack money, so give them official positions. They can't give them actual positions, but they can still give them some empty positions. This time, when Zhang Zhong comes back, don't have any bad ideas. Otherwise, he will use this as an excuse to resign. In order to appease his anger, you will be the unlucky one in the end. I know you are not convinced, but he is powerful. If you go to Luzhou, can you build Luzhou into such a state? Those who plow have their own fields, those who live have their own houses, the old have their own care, the young have their own education, and they don't have to worry about food and clothing. This may not be a big deal. The Zhang family is rich, so they can pay for it first, and they can't get it back now. The most surprising thing is that not only did the Zhang family not lose money, but they also made a lot of money, especially when they found a piece of Tang's land. Do you know? It's Tang's land. If it weren't for his young age, he would have been summoned back to the capital by the emperor and be an official with a similar position as me. Lu Jiro was quite satisfied with her current subordinates. Apart from being narrow-minded, they were not bad. She didn't want to provoke the Zhang family and deal with them. After all, the Ning family was an example. LV Yenzhua was indeed unwilling, but he couldn't help but admire the Zhang family. They actually made a lot of achievements in a place like Lingnan. He heard that the place was very well built. There were many roads, countless fertile fields, and prosperous businesses. How did they do it? At this time, when he saw that his superior had spoken, He could only hide the calculations in his heart. He was going to wait for Zhang Zhong to come back and think of something. In fact, he really wanted to find trouble with Zhang Zhong, and there were many reasons. For example, Zhang Zhong secretly formed an army, and Zhang Zhong killed people when he went to the place. If it were any other official, it would not be a small matter. However, he knew that this kind of thing couldn't be said. After all, Zhang Zhong didn't have any intention of rebelling, and he kept giving away the benefits. Just like now, other officials were unwilling to leave the place that had been built. But Zhang Zhong had already written his thoughts in the memorial. He meant that the imperial court could arrange for whoever to go there. When he thought of this, LV Enzwa was worried. Zhang Zhong's concession would definitely cause the imperial court to compensate Zhang Zhong further. Lord Lu, why don't we fight for the benefits from Lu Zhou? Even if we can't arrange for someone to be the provincial governor, it should be easy to choose 2 judges, right? LV Enzwa thought of the competition in the imperial court again. He had already sent people out, but unfortunately, those people had nothing to do with the power of the Ministry of Works. He still had some words that he didn't say. As long as they fought for the position, they could embezzle some money from the rich Lu Zhou. They could either use it in the Ministry of Works or take it back home. Lu Zhiro suddenly smiled mysteriously and said, "Do you think the new officials can get money? Let me tell you this, the reason Zhang Zhong agreed to leave so quickly is because the Zhang family has controlled the local money. If the new officials are sensible, they can continue to work according to Zhang Zhong's original plan. When they leave office, they will have a lot of benefits. If they insist on going there for money, the consequences are not only a matter of whether they can get money, but they may not even be able to keep their official position. That's why I don't want to fight for it. How can the Zhang family give away the money? The chambers of commerce there are working together, and outsiders can't interfere at all. If the new officials want to directly make a move, they can forget about paying the rent next year. Before Zhang Zhong comes back, he should report the rent for the second half of this year. According to the situation there, next year should be better than this year. However, if the officials reach out, I don't think they can even collect 30% of the rent for the second half of this year. Using the army to pressure them? The army is the local people's family. How can they make a move on their own family? Deceive them? I haven't heard of anyone who can deceive the Zhang family's business. Let's wait and see what kind of officials they choose this time. If they don't do well, even the people they choose will be implicated. LV Yenzhua fell silent. Even if he was unwilling to admit the Zhang family's ability to make money, he had to accept the fact. As long as it was the Zhang family's business, it was impossible to casually overthrow it. The business of the Zhang family was connected, and they even invited other businessmen to join in. It was really a case of pulling one hair and affecting the whole body. At least, he didn't have the ability to understand the Zhang family's business, let alone where to start. However, LV Yenzhua still wanted to find some psychological stability. So he said, if they really dare to deal with the new officials, how can the imperial court not know? How can the emperor not know? Yes, they all know. The emperor also knows. But so what? Sanshui County listens to the Zhang family and has always stopped. How much rent do we pay every year? Yaozhou doesn't completely listen to the Zhang family, but they won't interfere with the Zhang family's business. How much rent do we pay every year? What does this mean? It means that as long as we follow the line drawn by the Zhang family, we can't reduce the rent. Once the rent is reduced, it means that the official didn't do it. It's fine if you don't do it, but you have to have the ability to do better. If you don't have the ability and don't learn to do it, then the first person the emperor is dissatisfied with is not Zhang Zhong, but the official sent. Lu Zhirou's analysis was very thorough. The Zhang family didn't have the intention to rebel. They arranged it casually, but no matter where they were, it was reassuring. They could make money, spend money, and most importantly, make the local economy prosperous. Not to mention the new officials who rushed to go, even if he had a conflict with the Zhang family. The emperor wouldn't help him. This time, LV Yenzhua had nothing to say. He also had to agree with this statement. It was true. The Zhang family did things too safely. If it was only safe, it would be suspicious. However, the Zhang family always made a little mistake, which could be used against them. It was very easy for the emperor to use such people. He could make the Zhang family use their skills without worrying about them being difficult to control. This was the most amazing thing. Moreover, the Zhang family had another ability. They could solve the problems they caused. For example, when they suppressed other people's shops, the Zhang family suppressed many shops at the same time. Normally, there would be a lot of people who couldn't find a job to do. However, every time the Zhang family suppressed others, they would take over the original workers. They could also find more jobs to let the local people work. In this way, the imperial court didn't have to worry about the people not being able to survive because of the Zhang family's actions. Thinking of this, LV Yenzhua finally gave up the idea of dealing with Zhang Zhong for the time being. He said, "Darren is right. I should learn more, especially the way the Zhang family does business in various places. The most important thing is the method of raising pigs, ducks, and fish together." Lu Jiro understood very well that it wasn't that LV Yenzhua didn't want to deal with Zhang Zhong, but the gap between them was too big. There was no way to deal with him. This was also good. The process was not important. What was important was the final result. This time, when you wait for the Zhang family to come back, you have to take a good look and see what the Zhang family can do. His family is not simple. It would be best if he could follow behind them personally. The former Minister of Revenue had always been behind them. If he didn't have some ability, how could he let Baigo do that? Even without Lu Jiro's reminder, LV Yenzhua already wanted to do this. He really wanted to see how big a storm Zhang Zhong could make after he came back. At this moment, Zhang Zhong was also idle. He had learned a lot about officialdom, but after all, he had only been in contact with it for a short time. He didn't know what his son had done here. He had already helped him pave the road behind. It was also because of this that Zhang Xiaobao didn't agree to him directly returning to the capital to be an official. It was not so easy to be an official. Many times it was not enough to bring benefits to the local people with a plan. It was enough to exchange benefits with others. In the Tang Dynasty, where power was strong, one had to figure out the thoughts of the emperor. Only in this way could one be an official for a long time. Otherwise, it was just a prime minister who could get you at any time. Even if you didn't have any problems, any reason would be enough. Even if you didn't need a reason, you would have to come down. This was not an election, let alone any democracy. Let's see more. It won't be easy to see in the future. I don't know where I will be an official next time. If it's far away, it will take half a year to go and come back. Maybe I won't be able to come back a second time in my life. Zhang Zhong rode alone on the street, muttering to himself. Occasionally, he would meet people and greet them. At this time, Zhang Zhong had the leisure to look at the place he had built. It was beautiful, really beautiful. It was not worse than the capital, especially the use of a lot of cement. Perhaps it was just that there were not so many houses next to each other. If he really counted, it was more magnificent than Chang'an. It's a pity that the tree doesn't grow up. I don't know if the new official can do what he wants. If he has to change the method to deny others, there will be another struggle. Zhang Zhong knew his son's plan and knew how big of a change it would bring to this place. However, he was very worried that the new official would deliberately oppose it to show his ability. In that case, his son and daughter-in-law would be busy again. They would have to use the means of the Chamber of Commerce to force the new official to leave. He was not worried that his son and daughter-in-law could not win against the new official. However, in that case, his son and daughter-in-law would have to put in more effort. It was not easy for them to have a stable life, but they still had to think about Lu Zhou. It was too tiring to live like this. Zhang Zhong did not walk fast along the way. From time to time, he would stop to talk. There were not many people around. As he walked, he let the horse follow the road on its own. After a few turns, he arrived at the seaside. When he looked at the sky, he realized that 4 hours had passed. It seemed like only a short while had passed. Looking at the blue sea and the nearest lighthouse, Zhang Zhong puffed out his chest. He suddenly felt a sense of pride in his heart. Just as his son had said, no one would dare to have any ideas about Tang in the future, especially in the sea. Fortunately, the lighthouse was almost done. It would be completed before he left. In the future, even if the land could not accommodate them, he could still find a way to make money in the sea. The pigeon has flown over. I reckon the new official will arrive in a few days. He's working hard all the way back. He might be able to return to Sanshui County before the new year. Unfortunately, I don't know where the next place will be. I hope it won't delay the spring plowing. Zhang Xiaobao took the letter tied to the pigeon's leg and read it. It was a message from the capital. He was looking forward to going home, but he was also a little gloomy. Zhang Xiaobao did not want to encounter this kind of uncontrollable situation. However, he did not have any good ideas. Perhaps the emperor had not thought of a good idea as well. Wang Wan took the letter and read it. She said, "Will your father be sent to Sichuan? That road is not easy to travel. Moreover, Sichuan is also humid. It's different from the humidity at the seaside. There's no real chili now. We can't eat Sichuan pot even if we want to." "I don't think so. There might be a war in Sichuan. How can Li Longji send my father there? It's better to send him to Wuhan. I want to eat some fish. Didn't they say the fish there is delicious?" Zhang Xiaobao could not figure it out, so he decided not to think about it. After all, Tang was only so big. If his father was really sent to Sichuan, he could develop there. Sichuan was a good place. If worse came to worst, he could go to the northeast, even if that place was not very stable now. When Wang Wan saw that Zhang Xiaobao was not worried, she also relaxed. However, when she thought about the current Luzhou, she was very unhappy that he would be given to someone else in the future. Fortunately, there was Li Sun's business. It might not be so easy for others to get their hands on the 100,000 mountains. Just as the two of them were feeling bored, Li Sun rushed over excitedly and said to the two of them, "Are we leaving? I saw a pigeon coming over from the other side. It's good to go back quickly. I haven't seen my family for a long time. It's strange. This year's winter, I don't have to worry about clothes. I'll wear a cotton coat. Have you made a decision about the fiefdom? What if my father and you go to different places? Then our family can't help you much." Zhang Xiaobao suddenly remembered that Li Sun was going to other places. Although it was fine for people like Li Sun to stay in the capital all day and the fiefdom would still be paid, according to Li Sun's character, he would never agree to only take the money from the fiefdom and not manage it. Li Sun was now addicted to it and wanted to show his value to society. "When the time comes, I'll tell my father and ask him to find a way to get my fiefdom to the place where your father is an official. At that time, you don't have to care about my fiefdom. I'll manage it myself. Then we'll compete and see who can manage it better. Don't think that it's fine just because your family has money. If it were someone else, it might not be easy, but I don't lack money. I know how to do it. First, find some work for the people, and I'll pay for it. Then we'll do business and build roads. When the roads are built and there are more merchants, we'll set up a chamber of commerce, and everyone will work together. I reckon that your family won't be able to compare to me at that time. If you don't believe me, let's make a bet. What are we betting on? Let's bet on books and money. I'll take a loss. If I lose, I'll give you 10,000 strings of cash. The two of you can keep this money for yourselves. If I win, you'll tell me all the books you've learned. If I can find the books, I'll look for them myself. If I can't find them, I'll take them from you. For example, that book on nature is very good. 10,000 strings of cash. In the end, I can only exchange it for one of your books. Don't you think you're taking advantage of me?" Li Sun looked like he had been tricked. How could Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan believe him? Wang Wan immediately said, "You can keep the 10,000 strings of cash for yourself. You're really generous. You're using money to exchange for the opportunity to obtain knowledge. What are you thinking? Is knowledge that worthless? Can it be exchanged casually? Then how many books like nature do you have? If it's 20,000 strings of cash for one book, we're willing to bet with you on equal terms. We'll discuss it again. Li Sun chuckled when he saw that his thoughts had been seen through by the two of them. He didn't mention it again. He changed the topic and said, "Let's go and see our younger siblings. I brought them something good, prawns." Li Sun took a food box from the person beside him and walked towards the house where Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan's siblings were. Zhang Xiaobao hurriedly reached out to grab it. Prawns couldn't be eaten by the children. It was easy for it to get stuck in their throats. Li Sun, who usually appeared very clumsy, became agile at this moment. He actually dodged Zhang Xiaobao's hand and said, "Don't worry, it's not for them to eat with the shell, nor is it for them to eat directly. It's steamed in a pot without even adding salt. It won't kill them. The little ones will definitely like it." Only then did Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan allow Li Sun to follow them. They didn't know what the four little ones were playing with. When the three of them arrived, they saw two maidservants looking curiously through the glass. The three of them slowed down and inched over bit by bit. In the end, they saw something very magical. They didn't know how the four little ones came up with this idea. The bells in the house were originally made of widewood and hung on the door with hooks without edges and corners. But now they had been taken down and hung on the rope of the platform that could swing back and forth. There were a total of 4 thick ropes wrapped in silk. The hooks of the bells could only be hooked. The 4 bells were placed on the 4 ropes. The 4 little ones sat on the platform and randomly exerted their strength, wanting to make the platform swing more. But because they didn't exert their strength in the same direction, the swing wasn't as big as when one person was on the platform. But even so, it was shocking enough. When the 4 bells swayed with the platform, they made a jingling sound. The 4 little ones watched while drooling and laughing. Smart. It seems that your family is not ordinary people. You can even think of this idea. They're not even 5 months old, right? They can already think of how to play. If they're older, wouldn't it be better? Li Sun said enviously. He was indeed envious. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan had 4 younger brothers and sisters, but he didn't have any. Watching the little ones grow up under the careful care of their parents also gave him a sense of achievement. Who put them up? Zhang Xiaobao asked the 2 maidservants guarding here. In reply to little young master, it was Little Miss Belle, who put them up. Just now, Belle accidentally took the bells down. Then, she climbed to a place where she could swing. She sat there and swayed for a while before hanging the bells on the rope. When the jingling sounded, Belle found something fun. She climbed to the other doors and took down 3 more bells. She hung them on the same rope. Later, she played with them and hung the 4 bells on 4 different ropes. The maidservants were also surprised and found it very interesting. It seems that I have to find a way to cultivate their current thinking and actions. It turns out that they can take the initiative to think and arrange things at such a young age. Zhang Xiaobao said to Wang Wan with emotion when he saw the 4 little ones moving vigorously on the platform with the purpose of making the bell sound. Chapter 542. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan now had something to do. They were faced with a very profound problem. Is it because of curiosity or because of the environment? Wang Wan raised 2 points. The first was easy to understand, but the second was to adjust the environment around the children as much as possible. They had to constantly create accidents. Could all the children have the initiative to analyze and act? Then let's add more toys to it. Let's see if they can still think of ways to make some kind of change. Yes, change. Take the bell from the door to the rope. If the first time was a coincidence, then the next 3 times would be impossible. Also, you see, they know that shaking the bell can make it ring, so they are exerting force on it. They may not know the principle behind the bell ringing, but they can observe. Very well, let them shake it. Perhaps they will learn to exert force in one direction after shaking it a little. Make a small swing lower from the ground and thicker. See if they know how to exert strength in one direction at the same time when they climb up to play. Zhang Xiaobao didn't know what kind of problems such big children could think about, but he knew that thinking was sometimes a habit. Since the four little guys showed it, then they had to be trained well. Li Sun came down from the ladder at this time and said to Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan, "It's really amazing. They can think of putting the bell on the rope to make a sound. Maybe both of you are born to be amazing." Zhang Xiaobao smiled and pulled Wang Wan along as he ran back. One reason was to let his parents come over to take a look. Perhaps the four little ones had not played enough. The other reason was to make other toys. "I think we should make a simple little maze for them to play. When they can find the right way every time, we will make it a little more complicated. They will slowly get used to it." Wang Wan suggested, "Okay, I will ask someone to do it later. The one in the amusement park is not good. It is too big, and it is not suitable for children to climb around. We should also design a kind of door, make a password lock on the door, and use a big round ball as the password. As long as the ball is pulled in order, the door can be opened. First 3, then gradually increase the number. Let them play." Zhang Xiaobao originally planned to take out such a game when the four little guys were 1 or 2 years old. It seemed that he should take it out now. He really didn't know whether it was because of the good genes, the influence of the usual environment, or nutrition. Not to mention him, even the scientists who specialized in studying babies couldn't figure it out. It was too complicated. While the mothers of the two families ran to check on the little babies, the two of them went into their own houses and started to design. 2 days later, the new toys were made. At this time, the people who were sent by the imperial court to replace Zhang Zhong arrived. There were more than 10 of them, and some of them were originally idle positions that were not assigned. Before these people came, they were very polite to Zhang Zhong. Perhaps they were instructed by the people behind them, so they were very polite to him. In fact, they had no choice but to be polite. When they arrived at the place after a hard journey, the scene they saw shocked them to their core. It was too beautiful. Being an official in a place like this was like being in a fairyland. Although they already knew that the construction here was good, when they saw it with their own eyes, they had a different feeling. When they came, there was a big difference between what they imagined and what they saw. The arrival of the officials meant that Zhang Zhong was leaving. Li Sun also didn't want to stay here any longer. After packing up, Old Man Chang and Old Man Pai also quietly boarded the ship at night. Then, they slowly left the dock. Zhang Zhong had gone through a parting once. He didn't want the people of Luzhou or the people of Wulei County, who was closest to him, to line up to see him off like the people of Hua Yuan County. However, on the morning of the second day after they left, when the local people found that the person in the yamen had been replaced, they immediately protested. They questioned the new provincial governor about where the good official had gone. It seemed that if the new provincial governor did not explain clearly, it would cause a revolt among the people. The people of Luzhou did not care about the new official. To put bluntly, it was too easy for them to deal with the new official. They could just send their children in the army to arrest the new official. There was no way for them to reason with the new official. The mountain people would not stop them. They approved of Zhang Zhong more than the local people. In their eyes, there was only Zhang Zhong, not the emperor. When Zhang Zhong said that he would lead them to revolt, they would also nod their heads in agreement. This was especially true for a mountain person's child who was also on the ship. He was also Zhang Zhong's adopted son. This made the mountain people approve of Zhang Zhong even more. The new provincial governor was frightened. This was the first time he had encountered such a situation. In the past, he had been a county magistrate and a judge, but he had never seen any place where the people loved and respected an official so much. Today, he had learned something new. The people's customs were indeed different. Helpless, he no longer cared about his dignity as a provincial governor. He told the whole story from beginning to end. When he saw the house where he had enjoyed the night before, he took the initiative to ask for a place to stay. The people were reasonable. They did not ask the new provincial governor to look for a place to stay. After all, a good official was rich and did not lack a house. Moreover, they hoped that the new provincial governor would treat them like a good official. After some discussion, they reached an agreement with the new provincial governor. As long as the new provincial governor did things like the previous provincial governor, he would be allowed to live in a house. If one day he had bad thoughts such as corruption or bending the law, then it was not just a matter of whether he could live in a house or not. He might not even be able to make it back alive. When they found out that the good official had left, the people were very disappointed. In the end, the new provincial governor came up with an idea. He asked the people to write a form of 10,000 people and had it sent to the capital. The people of Luzhou were delighted. They found a long piece of silk cloth. Those who knew how to write would write, and those who did not would leave their fingerprints. Even the children left their fingerprints with the help of the adults. They rolled it into a big bundle and had someone carry it to the Chamber of Commerce here. There were also merchants from the neighboring provinces in the Chamber of Commerce. When they found out about the situation, they also wrote their names. However, their names were different from the people's. They had to give their names to the people. After they wrote their names, they would write down the amount of money. The worst among them was at least 100 strings of cash. After they finished writing, they would take out the money. There were a total of 6 provinces around Luzhou. Including the merchants of the Chamber of Commerce, there were more than 700 people. Everyone's money amounted to 200,000 strings of cash, which was nearly 1,300,000 caddies of copper coins. A fleet of ships could not carry all of them. The money was piled up like a mountain. The dozen or so new officials were frightened. The 10,000 people's forms of 10,000 strings of cash were given to them. What did Zhang Zhong do with all the people of Luzhou? No wonder he left secretly at night. If someone found out about this, they would probably send him off for a few days. No matter what their purpose was at this moment, they could no longer compare themselves to Zhang Zhong. The new provincial governor came to Luzhou because he was greedy. However, when he saw the customs here and saw the gains after Zhang Zhong left, he wondered if he could get more money if he was not greedy. If he was greedy, he could lose his life here. He was no longer jealous of Zhang Zhong. When the gap was too big, he could not be jealous. News of what happened to Luzhou was sent to the capital by a messenger pigeon. Everyone who saw the news was moved. Although this was not the first time, the officials could not help but sigh. With the 10,000 people's forms, 200,000 strings of cash, and the longevity of the people of Luzhou, Zhang Zhong did not need to be evaluated. Nobody dared to give him a low grade, not even a medium grade. Otherwise, it would be easy for the people of Luzhou to cause trouble. Moreover, it was not only Luzhou. There was also Yaozhou, which was close to the capital, and Sanshui County, which had the annual rent and tax of 2 ordinary provinces. If it were someone else who received 200,000 strings of cash late, the officials would definitely think of a way to impeach him, saying that he was a corrupt official. After all, he had too much money. However, when it came to Zhang Zhong, no one said so. The officials had a rough idea of how much money the Zhang family had. It was a lot, so much that they could take out 110,000 strings of cash to build the road for the emperor. The more money one had, the more money one could get. Even if the officials were mentally unbalanced, there was nothing they could do. Even the emperor laughed and said that if anyone thought they were capable, there were still a few provinces over there. In the past, not to mention more than a year, even 3 years would be enough to catch up with the current Luzhou and come back for a promotion. The officials retreated one after another. It was not that they did not want to be promoted, but they did not have the ability. The Zhang family was not human at all. They had even suffered a disaster. Otherwise, they might have come back this summer. Zhang Zhong did not know many things had happened after he left. He could not tell what he was feeling now. He was a little reluctant and a little worried. After all, he had put in a lot of effort to build Luzhou. He did not know if the new provincial governor would treat the people of Luzhou well. In such a melancholy, he thought of his son and daughter-in-law. Since the two of them were not in a hurry, why should he be? He believed that his son and daughter-in-law were already prepared. Yes, that was it. Zhang Zhong looked at the night sky and thought so. Suddenly, he thought of his son's words, "The bright moon rises from the sea, and we share this moment from the end of the world." Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan were also standing in front of the window of the cabin, looking at the stars and the moon in the sky. "It's so beautiful. I think of another song," Wang Wan said faintly. "Don't tell me it's the song Stargazing, from more than 100 years ago again." Zhang Xiaobao felt that the song was a little sad. He did not like to listen to it, even though he had a different feeling every time he listened to it. No, a child shouldn't sing such a song. What I'm thinking is, there are countless stars in the sky, and the brightest one is me. I don't know where I came from, and I don't know. Xiaobao, let's go around Hainan Island, shall we? Shall we? Wang Wan suddenly asked after singing a few lines. Why? Isn't the Cheongzhou Strait closer? Zhang Xiaobao was puzzled. Question, first couplet, World's End. Answer, second couplet, Cape. That's right. I'm going to write there, Wang Wan said excitedly. Write to the ends of the earth? If you have such a hobby, we won't be able to finish writing even if we travel all day. There will be many famous places. Zhang Xiaobao reacted quickly. He immediately knew what Wang Wan was thinking. Forget it. We'll talk about it next time. I don't believe that anyone can write before me. Did anyone write at Penglai Pavilion in Shandong? If we keep going by sea and don't enter the canal from Zhejiang, we can reach there. Then we can go by the Yellow River, Wang Wan said longingly. In winter, it was faster to come to Luzhou from the direction of the capital or from Shandong. However, it was troublesome to go back. There was a cold current. If they wanted to go faster, it was easy. They just had to move the ship horizontally toward the sea for a distance. Then they would be able to encounter a warm current. However, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan did not want to go to Japan. Moreover, there were too many unknown dangers at sea. They had no choice but to go against the cold current. This time, Wang Wan did not mention going to Shandong anymore. They found a place where they could turn into the sea, and the fleet went in. After they were surrounded by land, the people on the ship felt much more comfortable. Those who were eager to return home increased the speed of their oars. The ship had enough supplies, and no one wanted to do any more business on the way. They did not stop at all until they reached the capital. Counting the days, only 40 days had passed. To Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan, this speed could only be described with one word: slow. However, for those who had never reached such speed before, this was a miracle. There were still more than 10 days before the new year. It was enough for them to go home. The ship docked at the dock of the capital. Zhang Zhong heaved a sigh of relief. He took the things he needed and went to the palace to look for the emperor. Li Longji did not expect Zhang Zhong to come back so soon. He thought that he would only arrive after the new year. He was surprised because he had a deeper understanding of the propeller and the ship with wheels on both sides. An hour later, Zhang Zhong came out. In fact, he did not say much. He only asked about the situation on the other side and encouraged them. That was all. At this time, the ship was too big for them to sit on. The river was too shallow, and so were the boats. They could only rush back by carriage. The Zhang family and the Wang family wanted to spend the new year with their villagers. This year, they came quickly and coincidentally. They wondered what would happen next year. Zhang Zhong, who was sitting in the carriage, did not say anything. His face was flushed red, and he seemed very excited. Husband, is it difficult to meet the emperor? Jiang Wang Clan, who was sitting beside him, asked. Zhang Zhong finally regained his senses. He smiled and said, "It's not that it's difficult to meet the emperor. It's because I found out about Luzhou." He told her what happened on the second day after they left. Zhang Zhong leaned back in his seat and did not say anything. He only heard about it from the emperor. He did not know why other people were officials, but he wanted to let the people live a good life and gain the recognition of the people. This time, he received it. That was why he was so excited. Jiang Wang Clan was stunned when she heard this. Then, she sighed and said, "It's worth it. Husband, you didn't do so many things for the people for nothing. As long as you have the 10,000 people watch, it's fine. Money isn't important. Zhang Zhong nodded and did not say anything else. The carriage was silent for a moment. However, before Zhang Zhong could digest what he had just heard, when the convoy arrived at Hua Yuan County, Zhang Zhong's unsettled emotions surged again. He did not know who leaked the news, but the people of Hua Yuan County already knew that Zhang Zhong had returned. When the convoy arrived at Hua Yuan County after 5 days, they could no longer move forward. The road ahead was blocked by the people. They stood in the cold wind and did not say anything. They just looked at Zhang Zhong's convoy. Zhang Zhong lifted the curtain and looked. He felt a headache coming on. However, he had to go down and greet them. As soon as they saw Zhang Zhong, the people crowded around him and greeted him one by one. Some wanted to ask what Lu Zhou was like. Some were concerned about where Zhang Zhong would become an official next. They did not even care if they could offend the current provincial governor of Yao Province. They directly advised Zhang Zhong to think of a way to return to Yao Province and become the provincial governor of Yao Province. When the people who did not know the details saw this scene, they were puzzled. They did not understand why so many people were here. After asking around, they looked at Zhang Zhong with a respectful gaze. It was easy to become an official. However, it was not easy to return after leaving for more than a year and still receive the support of the people. Among the people in the cold wind, only those who were closest to Zhang Zhong spoke. The others were silent. Even the 7 or 8-year-old children were sensible enough not to make a sound. Zhang Zhong had no choice. He found his megaphone again and shouted at the people around him. He told them that he was doing well and that he was doing well at Lu Zhou's place. He told them not to worry. Then, he asked the people to go home and celebrate the new year. He also wished them a happy new year. In fact, the people did not intend to do anything. They just wanted to see Zhang Zhong. When they saw that Zhang Zhong's family was fine, they were relieved. After all, it was cold outside. After they saw the 4 children who were suddenly carried back, they said some words of congratulations and dispersed. Zhang Zhong did not dare to leave, and he could not leave. He stood on the carriage and watched the people leave one by one. When all the people were gone, he climbed down and got into the carriage. He warmed his hands on the stove to prevent them from freezing. His hands and face were cold, but Zhang Zhong felt warm in his heart. Even he knew it was cold. How could the people not feel cold after waiting for so long? Husband, do you realize that being a good official is better than being a corrupt official? Justice is in the heart of the people. Jiang Wang clan's eyes were red. Clearly, she was touched. Even if the emperor came, it would not be possible for so many people to welcome him unless he sent an army. But her husband had just returned home, and there were people waiting for him spontaneously. If this was not a good official, what was? Zhang Zhong also felt a sense of achievement. He sighed and said, "When I am old, I will tell my grandson that in the past. Fortunately, it is this era. If it was in our era, if there was an official who was loved like this, that official would be finished. Love and respect should be given to the leaders." Zhang Xiaobao said happily, "Why do I feel that you are always attacking the leaders? We are all serving the people. We are the servants of the people." Wang Wan had heard Zhang Xiaobao's complaints more than once. She felt that it was not good to be like this. Forget it. Don't you feel embarrassed saying this? I am not attacking anyone. I am just telling the truth. This era is good. Taking advantage of the good times to do more things for the people. It is not a waste to walk around the world again. I am going to take advantage of the new year to start providing free medical treatment to the people of Sanshui County and Yaozhou. As long as they are local people, they will not have to pay to see the doctor. This is called returning the favor. Zhang Xiaobao was just saying. It was impossible for him to discuss more with Wang Wan. After all, Wang Wan had such a person in her family. Wang Wan thought for a while and said, "In fact, it has nothing to do with the officials. It is a problem of human nature. The people who live at the bottom of society will be a big official one day. If he becomes a big official, won't he know the suffering of the people? Can he be a good official? Anyway, if you want to treat the people of a county or a state for free, where will the money come from? We don't care about the money, but the problem is not how much money we have, but why and how to use the money. It's simple. We can use the money from gambling. We can't control the lottery, but we can control the gambling. We have to contact the local government, and the money we earn can be used for medical treatment. This is not strange. Many countries have free medical education. If others can do it, why can't we? It is not only in these two places. Luzhou will do the same in the future. Not only will the local people receive free medical treatment, but even the foreigners will also receive free medical treatment. The wool comes from the sheep. However, many people know that the wool comes from a sheep, but they insist on using the wool on themselves instead of the sheep. In the end, when the sheep dies, they have no wool to cut. Zhang Xiaobao did not care about money at all. He was very happy now. He was happy that he was born in this era. When he did good things, there was very little resistance. It was so small that there was no resistance. It was fine as long as he did not use his name to do good things. If he did not emphasize the donation to the court and insisted on mentioning his name, the court would accept the donation and use the money on the people. Very few people dared to be greedy for the money. It had nothing to do with the law. There was also something called morality. An official who violated the law was just following the rules. However, if his morality was exposed, the official could just commit suicide. You are still criticizing. Think about the current situation. Wang could tell that Zhang Xiaobao seemed to be very dissatisfied with the people in the court. Why can't I talk about it? Now, I just want to grow up quickly. When the time comes, I will be the Prime Minister and universal compulsory education in the country, starting from the age of 4 until the age of 20. After that, medical treatment will be free. Zhang Xiaobao told her his dream. He felt that he was very noble. Sometimes, greatness was a kind of belief that encouraged him to achieve his goal. Wang looked at Zhang Xiaobao for a while and said, "Your goal is good, but everything depends on people to carry it out. Can you guarantee that no one will make any mistakes in the process of carrying it out? Also, what's the point of education for so long? It's enough to know how to read. After all, not everyone needs to learn a lot of things. Why not? If I had received a good education when I was young, maybe now I can. Maybe you wouldn't have come here with me now. Then I still want to carry on and make it universal. The main reason is that many things can be passed down. Also, your understanding is wrong. Knowledge does not have to be used immediately. It is accumulated in life. When you think that it is very normal to know how to read and write, have you ever thought about the desire of people who don't know how to read? The simplest example is when a notice is posted. You know how to read, look up, and you leave because it has nothing to do with you. But what if you don't know how to read? You don't even know what the notice says. You have to ask someone else. When you use the simplest method to measure the distance, you may feel that it is very long. But do you know how many people want to measure the distance, but don't know how to do it? The sky is blue because we have all learned that it is caused by the different wavelengths of light. But people in Tang don't know that. If they don't explore, they will live happily and ignorantly. But when someone really wants to explore, he will be very distressed because it involves too much basic knowledge. Ignorance is not terrible. What is terrible is that ignorance will cause you or others to lose their lives. At least we know the simple first aid method for carbon monoxide poisoning. You may not use it even once in your life, but when you really use it, it may save a life. Knowledge is the general knowledge summed up by predecessors. I have to persist. I must popularize education and add in various specialties to form a system. Zhang Xiaobao became a little crazy again. Wang had already known about Zhang Xiaobao's illness. She nodded and said, "I actually support you. But what if your education in the future offends people's thinking? I don't want you to become Bruno. Copernicus is very smart." This is simple. Do you know Buddhism? When they started from India, it was not as comprehensive as what we know later. Later generations added in bit by bit. To what extent? It means that no matter how you question it, they have a reasonable explanation. Then we can take a method to integrate the current thinking with the knowledge we want to teach. The ruling class doesn't care about right or wrong at all. They care about whether or not their interests can be protected. All religions serve the purpose of war, but some people just don't admit it. People who believe in religions are easy to understand. They have lost themselves and seek external help. People who don't believe in other religions because they believe in themselves. We can give the ruling class confidence. And that is, no matter how we teach, we will protect the ruling class in the end. This is a matter for the future. Do you think we will be treated well when we go back? Zhang Xiaobao finally stopped talking about this kind of philosophy and contradiction. When Wang Wan heard Zhang Xiaobao say that they will be treated well, she nodded happily. Suddenly, she trembled a little and said, "Xiaobao, let's cook what we like to eat. I think when we go back to Zhangji Zhuangzi, we will eat roasted chicken and smoked chicken. They will definitely ask us to evaluate their cooking. I don't want to." Zhang Xiaobao also reacted. Indeed, if he was an ordinary farmer, he would also take out his best smoked chicken when he saw that the master was back. It was too scary, too scary. Zhang Xiaobao could imagine that as long as he tasted the roasted chicken or smoked chicken made by one family, he would also have to taste the other families. Yes, it was good to eat this kind of thing occasionally, but he couldn't eat it continuously. Zhang Xiaobao's face turned pale immediately. He really could not imagine the consequences of eating so many chickens in a row. Wang Wan's expression changed as well. She nudged Zhang Xiaobao and said, "Xiaobao, you're the smartest. Think of a way." "Oh, yes, I'll think of one right away." Zhang Xiaobao agreed without hesitation. He frowned as though he was faced with a problem that was more difficult than fraud. When the group arrived at the main restaurant between the clouds and the water, the people from the Zhang family and Wang family who came to Luzhou finally relaxed. The other places were sealed by ice, but here they could still see the clear water flowing. There was a layer of mist on the water, completely shrouding the restaurants between the clouds and the water. This scene had nothing to do with the natural world. It was purely an illusion. First, they had people shaving ice, sprinkling salt on the water on time every day, and then roasting it on the water with a charcoal brazier. Therefore, the water did not freeze, and there was still mist. It was the new year. The 3 Zhuangzi members of the Zhang family and a Zhuangzi farmer from the Wang family came back to celebrate. It was the same last year. As soon as the group moved out, the farmers who had been waiting there surrounded them. They did not ask questions like the people in Hua Yuan County. Instead, they just greeted them and started to carry things from the carts. The 4 Zhuangzi farmers from the Zhang family and Wang family were not the only ones who came. Even the farmers from the Gu family were here. It had been a long time since they last saw the main members of the Zhang family and Wang family. They did not care much about the Gu family. They were more concerned about the Zhang family and Wang family. A few days ago, they heard that the farmer from the Zhang family, Zhang Qiu, was beaten up. His bones were broken, and there was a big cut on his leg. It was swollen to the size of his waist. When they heard that the people who beat Zhang Qiu were from a big family in the south, they were scared out of their wits. Later, they heard that Zhang Qiu was treated and the whole family who beat him ran away. It seemed that the masters of the Zhang family and Wang family were still the original masters. Just like what they said on the 15th, they would light up the starry sky together. Today, they had to take a good look and see if the master of the Zhang family had gained weight or lost weight. Yes, he was not fat or thin, but he had become darker. The 4 little ancestors of the Zhang family and Wang family were also being carried by the young master and young lady. They were chubby and were strangely heavy. Zhang Xiaobao hugged his younger brother and sister. He stood beside the carriage and looked at his home. He had not been back for more than a year, but it felt like a century had passed. He did not know if the 4 little ones had telepathy or if they saw something fun at the same time, but they all giggled together. Xiao Bei kissed Zhang Xiaobao with her mouth that was still drooling. Zhang Xiaobao was kissed by his sister and could not wipe it away. He could only move his younger brother to his side. His face was full of saliva and his brother's clothes. Anyway, he had to wash them later. At this time, a farmer squeezed through the crowd and came over with a plate of roasted chicken in his hand. When he came over, a family member who had already been instructed immediately said, "In order to celebrate the arrival of the new year and to celebrate the new year with the farmers, the main family abstained from meat and fish until the 30th. The people in the inner courtyard will follow suit. Oh, there's even roasted chicken. It's a pity that it can't be eaten." Zhang Xiaobao thought of the plan that the people in the inner courtyard had just mentioned. If he did not have foresight, his family would be finished. Chapter 543. Walking on the familiar yet strange land. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan kept looking at the scenery around them. The canals had been frozen, and the small trees had grown taller. There were also green plants growing in the winter, covered with a thin layer of snow. The children of the past had also grown up. They were still wearing the same clothes, divided into two colors according to gender. They stood in the middle of the crowd, respectfully and curiously looking at the people of the Zhang family and Wang family. In the fields in the distance, there was still a passage made of straw. A flock of sparrows landed beside it, their small heads looking for dried rice among the straw. A few magpies on the branches with fallen leaves were probably alarmed by someone, standing there and calling from time to time. The wooden corridor had been carved with various patterns and painted with new paint. The stove that had once been used by the children to barbecue food was still standing there, burning with red charcoal. A pond was thought to have been heated with charcoal, so the water surface was not frozen. It was unknown which family's ducks were fearless. A dozen of them gathered together and swam on the surface of the water. Occasionally, they would stick their heads into the water to eat a few small fish. Then they would be scared by a stray cat that jumped from a side and swam to the shore at the other end, running back home as if they were flying. They were not afraid of being frozen to death. The mountains in the distance were pure white, occasionally showing a bit of green. The sun, which had not much heat, was hanging in the sky, making the snow on the ground even brighter. Nothing seemed to have changed, but everything seemed to be different from before. Someone came to answer. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan did not care so much. After looking at the surrounding scenery, they directly ran back home, followed by the three big dogs. "Oh, it's so comfortable to be home." After Zhang Xiaobao entered the door and threw himself on the Kong, feeling the warmth from the Kong, he said with a happy face. Wang Wan took off her thick outer clothes, sat on a chair with a thick cushion, and introduced various things to the three dogs with her fingers. She did not know if the dogs could understand. The return of the heads of the Zhang family and Wang family made Zhuangzi more lively than usual during the New Year. The villagers all came back from outside to celebrate the New Year, and their faces were brimming with joy. Between the clouds and the water was a little more deserted, but there were still some people who didn't want to go back for the New Year. There were even some students in the academy who couldn't go back home. The four little ones from the Zhang and Wang families no longer went into their own room to play. They needed to solve the heating problem inside. One by one, they rolled around on the Kong bed. From time to time, they would use their small hands to scratch at the embroidered quilt. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan didn't play with their younger brothers and sisters. The two of them asked the craftsman to make a doghouse. They were afraid that it would be cold if it was directly next to the ground, so they set it up 2 inches high. In the middle of the 3 layers of boards, there was also a piece of cloth stuffed with dry straw and a mattress. The doghouse was very big, just like a small house. 3 dogs were enough. Perhaps they came from a warm place and had not fully adapted to the cold in the north. As soon as the doghouse was finished, they crawled into it and curled up. Only the big dog stuck its head out and looked at the winter scenery curiously. Song Jinggong also came. Unfortunately, the 2 brothers who knew how to raise eagles and dogs were not here. They said that they were going to other places to look for better dogs and eagles, so Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan didn't have the chance to see them. Since the new year was coming, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan couldn't go out, so they walked around their house. At the same time, they went to visit the other two villagers on Zhuangzi and delivered the specialties they brought back from Luzhou to them. There were still many vegetables planted in the fields this year, so there was no need to sell them elsewhere. Apart from providing food for Zhuangzi, the rest were sent to between the clouds and the water. Because the method had been spread out, people in the cold places of Tang were planting vegetables out of season. The cost of getting the materials was low, but the price could not be so high. This is what it means to be well off, but it's still far from being well off. We have to continue working hard in the future. When Wang Wan and Zhang Xiaobao strolled along the river, they saw the clothes the people of Sanshui County wore, and their faces were filled with joy. However, they were still not satisfied. They wanted to improve the lives of the people of Sanshui County. The people were still wearing linen clothes, but they were much thicker than before. They were not as thin as before, and they shivered in the cold. However, this was not their goal. The two of them wanted to let the people wear cotton-padded clothes in the winter. They were more comfortable and warm than linen clothes. The people of Sanshui County did not know that there was something better, but they were already very satisfied. They had harvested more food this year than in previous years. Those who were idle at home raised chickens and pigs, and they were no longer against eating fish. It was almost the new year. Almost every family slaughtered pigs to make sausages, blood sausages, and powder sausages. They did not need to throw away the skin and bones. They sent them to the local workshop and could even exchange them for a sum of money. Although they wore linen clothes on the outside, they wore silk shirts on the inside. They also wore leather shoes on their feet. Usually, they could eat meat whenever they wanted. There was no shortage of oil and salt. Who asked them to be in a traffic junction? They could always find something to do to earn money. While Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan were not very satisfied, the local people walking on the road were all jubilant. When they saw someone they knew, they would happily greet them. It would be good if there was a railway. It would be convenient to transport food from the south. Now the people of Sanshui County are living better, but there are still no changes in the Northwest. Those who should not be able to wear clothes are still unable to wear clothes. Those who should not be able to eat are also unable to solve the problem. When Zhang Xiaobao thought of the differences in the lives of the various regions, he still felt that it was not enough. Only when everyone did not have to worry about food would they be able to eat and wear. There will still be contradictions. In society, people are always compared with each other. There will always be a group of quick-witted people who use various means to improve their lives and social status. Some are in line with moral and legal standards, while others are not. But no matter which one it is, as long as you're not caught, your life will be better. After you have the original capital, you'll be able to widen the gap between you and others. Human desires are endless. Even if you let everyone eat their fill, the quality of the food will still be different with more money. Wang Wan thought of the contradictions in society. Wei Wei sighed. I don't think about social contradictions. As long as it is where my father is, the people there must have a good life. Internal contradictions can be shifted through external national policies. Say, when everyone is literate and has mastered the basic knowledge, then will the imperial power be as stable as it is now? Zhang Xiaobao pulled Wang Wan towards a pavilion that was still guarded. Wang Wan was stunned for a moment. It shouldn't be. The more the people know, the harder it is to control them. Unless every generation of the emperor is so powerful. As long as there is a generation that is not good, then it will be over. Zhang Xiaobao did not say anything more. He looked curiously at the two people in the pavilion, a man and a woman. To be precise, they were an old man and an old woman. The house behind the pavilion was also different from the other pavilions. The other pavilions only had one room behind them, which was specially used for heating and rest. Unexpectedly, there were 3 rooms behind this one. From the traces, there was also a vegetable field next to it. There was still a small stove in the pavilion. Hot water was being boiled on top of the stove. Tea eggs were also being boiled at the same time to provide convenience for the pedestrians. However, there was also a place that sold pancakes. The old man and the old woman just sat there, not talking to each other. Their eyes were looking at the same place. If one stared at them carefully, they would feel like they had lost the sense of distance. It seemed like they were very far away, but also very close. Why is it like this? It gives people a unique feeling when they look at the two of them. Wang Wan found it very interesting, because this is a spiritual distance that has crossed over time. The old man and the old woman are a family. After going through so many things, their mentality is different. Sitting there, they seem to be quiet and distant. Another reason is that we have nothing to do, so we have the leisure to reminisce. Let's go, I'll treat you to some pancakes. Zhang Xiaobao quickened his footsteps. Wang Wan nodded and suddenly said, "Won't we be disturbing their peace if we go over? They are living together. Why would they care about your time? I don't know if the price of pancakes has increased. It used to be 2 copper coins for 1 pancake with vegetables. It should be more expensive in winter." Zhang Xiaobao had not eaten pancakes for a long time. He did not have time to make pancakes, so he added chopped green onions and sour sauce. "Grandma, how much is 1 pancake?" After so many years, Zhang Xiaobao already had the awareness of being a child and addressed them according to their biological age. 2 copper coins for 1 pancake. Oh, whose child is so good-looking? You two eat it, and I'll add a tea egg for free. The old woman turned her head and saw Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. She was moved by the two of them. Wang Wan looked at the things placed there and knew that there were vegetables. There were not as many varieties as there were in summer. There were only stir-fried shredded radish and bean sprouts. She sighed in her heart that the people here were simple and honest. They did not increase the price of things just because the local people had a better life and it was winter. She stretched out 2 fingers and said, "Grandma, I want 2 pancakes. Put 2 extra eggs for each one. 1 without dried coriander and 1 with chopped green onions. The one with chopped green onions should be smeared with sauce." Wang Wan took out 6 copper coins from her small satchel and handed over. She meant that she could not take the tea egg for free. "Yes, add 2 extra eggs for 1 copper coin. The local eggs are cheap. If you go to other places, 1 copper coin is not expensive. Which dish do you want to eat? Grandma will add more for you." The old woman said to Wang Wan with a kind smile, "Don't add any dish. Just eat the noodles and fruits. Don't fry them until they become brittle." "Grandma, why did you use bean sprouts? Bean sprouts are not cheap. Why don't you change them to pickled cabbage and stir-fry them with lard? Even if you charge 1 copper coin more, people will still buy them. They are very delicious." Wang Wan and Zhang Xiaobao could not eat the fruit pancake with vegetables. Once the vegetables were added, they would not be able to taste the original taste of the fruit pancake. The vegetables were added to fill the customers' stomachs, not the original taste. It would be better if there was some chili sauce mixed with chili. "Well, we'll make pickled cabbage next year. You don't have to pay more. We can earn more. The house has just been built this year, so we don't have time to pickle it." Seeing that the two of them did not want to add more dishes, the old woman put an extra youtiao into the pancake. She used a small spatula to make a long package and wrapped it with oil paper. Then she sent the warm package to the two of them. Chapter 544. Hearing the old lady's words, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan started to look at the house. Looking carefully, it was indeed built not long ago. It was mainly because of the snow on the roof, which made the new beams look not so new. Listening to the old lady's voice, they knew that she was not a local. She probably came to live in Sanxue County from somewhere else. The house was built behind the pavilion, and she planned to live here for a long time in the future. "Grandma, it's not good to live in such a house. There's no land around for farming. The land behind the pavilion belongs to the Gu family, Zhuangzi. It's only about 10 mu, and we can still grow some food. Why don't we discuss with the Gu family next year and ask them to let some of the land or even rent it so that your son can farm? Wang Wan kindly reminded them. She didn't care if they built 2 more houses. They didn't occupy the road, and they couldn't let others tear them down unless they provided a good house for them to live in. Zhang Xiaobao took a bite of the hot pancake and nodded at the side. Seeing that the 2 people didn't leave immediately, the old lady was willing to talk. She said with a smile, "The land in the Gu family is expensive, and we can't afford to rent it. Besides, there's only the 2 of us left in the family. Who can farm?" "Ah, only you and Grandpa left? Did you suffer a disaster?" Wang Wan swallowed the food in her mouth and asked softly. "No, we didn't suffer a disaster. We only have a daughter, and she got married. My son-in-law is a scholar, and he passed the exam last year. He became an official, and we came out." Sigh. The old lady's words made people hear something unusual. "Why are you talking about this? He's not a son-in-law who lives in the family. How can an official not have the prestige of an official?" The old man, who had been silent for a while, opened his mouth this time. "Why can't I say it? When he was young, his mother died early. In the past, who didn't send meat to his family? Where did the money for his education come from? His father, who only knows how to drink and play with money all day long, has ruined the family? How many times had he been caught stealing? We're just waiting for him to be successful and be able to bring our daughter to live a good life, have a few more children, and adopt a successor. But he's good. After entering the capital and passing the exam, he directly found a woman here and brought her back. He disdains us here and also disdains us there. If we still don't come out, I reckon he'll drive our daughter out as well. You're allowed to do it, but I'm not allowed to say it? Forget it, this is fate." The old lady refuted the old man. Suddenly, she realized that the people listening to her were 2 half-grown children. What was there to say to children? Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan finally understood. It turned out that when their son-in-law became an official, he didn't treat them well. It was probably because they didn't eat or drink well and often lost their temper with them. The 2 of them weren't soft-hearted people, so they came out to find something to do. The imperial examinations last year? Top scorer in the engineering department? Even with my father's status, he still has to send gifts to the Wang clan every year. Not only that, he still has to take care of my mother's feelings. How high is his rank? Zhang Xiaobao hated this kind of thing the most, so he said angrily. The old lady had long seen that the 2 children were not ordinary. They were not wearing silk clothes, but she still knew the workmanship of the clothes. In addition, the way the 2 children spoke was not something that ordinary children would have. So she asked, "Your father is also an official? Is he not good with your family? That son-in-law of mine is not a small official. He's just a county magistrate. It's no wonder that he found another person to come home. That person is very capable. Otherwise, how can a person who is in the middle of the Mingjing department immediately become a county magistrate? It's good enough that he can treat my daughter better. What kind of official is your father?" Sigh. This is really like suddenly seeing a willow tree. Repentant husband looking for a marquis title. "Xiaobao, my father and your father are the best." Wang Wan didn't know what to say and sighed. Then she said to the old lady, "Xiaobao's father is a small official. He can't stay idle all day and has to take care of everything. In the end, when there are benefits, he gives it to others. It would be good if he could be an official in the same place as your son-in-law. After all, he's a colleague and should give him some face." Good. It's good that you have such a heart. It's not easy to be an official under others. You have to look at others' faces. Even if you have some achievements, it's still someone else's. The old lady didn't think much and patted Wang Wan's head with a kind smile. Yes. It's really not easy. Every time you do something, you have to think about how the higher-ups will react. There are many times when you don't dare to stand up and ask others to help you. Even when you do something good for the people, you have to use the name of the higher-ups. You are also ostracized by others and impeached for nothing. When you do something, there are countless pairs of eyes staring at you. All kinds of tricks are endless. There's no other way. Since you want to do something for the people, you have to hold on. Fortunately, there are many benefits for the higher-ups. The higher-ups help to suppress the impeachment reports. Only then can you go home in one piece. Wang Wan agreed. She complained mainly because she and Xiao Bao were exhausted. On one hand, they had to think of ways to make the people's lives better. On the other hand, they had to earn money from impossible situations. They also had to deal with all kinds of schemes at any time. Tactics, strategies, planning, and organization were all done by the two of them. The old lady felt that the two children were very sensible. It seemed that the life at home wasn't so good. Even the children understood the hardships, let alone the adults. After thinking about it, she used eggs and noodles to make an egg pancake and stuffed it into Wang Wan's hands. No matter what, she didn't want money. It was a reward for the two children. Grandma, you have a good heart. Good people will be rewarded. And a new year is a new hope. Wang Wan took the egg pancake and said to the old lady, before leaving with Zhang Xiaobao. The old lady looked at the two children's figures and nodded. She said to the old man, "They are really good children. I don't know which family is so lucky. Old lady, give me one too. Add 2 eggs and no side dishes." At this time, a person seemed to suddenly appear. His eyes were looking at Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan's figures. He said to the old lady and took out 3 copper coins. When the old lady saw the person, she was shocked. She quickly spread the pancake and said, "So it's housekeeper Go. How can this be? Quickly put the money away. When we were building the house, we took a few pieces of wood from you. You are so precious. You shouldn't eat pancakes." It's not precious. It's edible. People who are more precious can eat it. How can I dare to say that it's precious? Old lady, your luck is here. I didn't give you an egg pancake for free. It's just that your son-in-law is going to be unlucky. Housekeeper Gu warmed his hands by the stove and said to the old lady. When the old lady heard this, she quickly cracked 2 more eggs. Housekeeper Gu wants to eat egg pancakes? That's right. Housekeeper Gu usually takes care of you. Of course, your luck is here. But you know my son-in-law? It has nothing to do with me. It's those 2 little ancestors. I guess your son-in-law will beg you to come home. It's okay to spread the egg pancakes. I will give you 2 more copper coins. Don't refuse. Otherwise, if the 2 little ancestors know, my Gu family will be unlucky. Housekeeper Gu knew the 2 little ancestors' characters better. Housekeeper Gu, you are joking. Who dares to touch the Gu family in Sanchue County? If there are really troublemakers, they won't even be able to enter the courtyard before being beaten out. The old lady didn't realize who Housekeeper Gu was talking about. Housekeeper Gu trembled. There are, but they won't be able to come here. If they really want to touch my family, with just one sentence, all the people in the county will rush over. What courtyard? Even the house will be destroyed. Didn't the 2 little ancestors tell you that good people will be rewarded? You just have to wait. Are you talking about the 2 little children? What can they do? The boy's father is just a small official. He has to take care of everything. It's hard work, but not good. Sigh. It's not easy. Only now did the old lady know who Housekeeper Gu was talking about. She shook her head. With a pu sound, Steward Gu, who was eating an egg pancake, suddenly spat out the food in his mouth. One of the egg pancakes came out from his nose, which made him feel extremely uncomfortable. He blew his nose twice, then said with reddened eyes, "Small official? A 4th-rank provincial governor is a small official? Doesn't he have to take care of everything? He's in charge of all the affairs in the province, and he's even the military secretary. The military and government are one. It seems that you really don't know who they are. They're the little ancestors of the Zhang family and the Wang family in Zhuangzi. The boy's father was the top scorer in the imperial examination. Does my Gu family dare to offend them? Unless we're tired of living. You exchanged an egg pancake for such a big benefit. Isn't it a blessing? The old lady finally understood. She opened her mouth, which had 4 missing teeth, and the hand that was wiping the pancake also trembled. She knew who the 2 little children were. They were the young master and young lady of the Zhang family, and the Wang family, who had heard so much that calluses appeared in her ears. But she couldn't understand why such a rich family didn't wear silk clothes. Why did they come over to eat a pancake and call her grandma? No wonder they looked so likable. They were actually from the Zhang family and the Wang family. This was a true master. Even a child was so polite. The people from the top scorer's school were indeed different. While the old lady was sighing, she suddenly thought of the complaint she said just now. Also, Butler Gu mentioned that her son-in-law was going to be unlucky. She began to feel anxious. Old man, quickly think of a way. The 2 little children might go back and tell their families. How can a county magistrate win against a provincial governor? What if his family wants to do something to our son-in-law? There's a big difference between a 7th rank and a 4th rank. The old lady said to the old man. The old man finally smiled. He nodded and shook his head. Don't worry. It's good to let him suffer a little, so that he won't harm our daughter. When the time comes, we'll talk to the 2 little children. A noble indeed. Talk? How? Wait for them to come back and buy pancakes? Otherwise, do you think that the 2 Zhuangzi Zhang family want to see other people's children? Who do you think you are? You want to see them? Didn't you hear? In Sanshui County, if the Zhang family stomps their feet, the entire county will tremble. Isn't that right, Butler Gu? The old lady knew about this. Yes. Don't mention trembling. The Zhang family said that they want to flatten the mountain in Little Luoshui. It won't take long for the mountain to be gone. My Gu family will be the first to provide people and money. But it's not hard to see the 2 little ancestors. They always come out and walk around. Butler Gu expressed his attitude. Chapter 545. The return of the Zhang family had stirred the hearts of many people. The officials and runners of Sanshui County's Yamen were trying to find ways to visit, and so were the commoners. However, the new year was approaching, and the officials could not spare any time. They still had to deliver gifts to the poorest families in Sanshui County. The poor families were not locals of Sanshui County. They were people who had moved to Sanshui County from other places. When Zhang Zhong returned this time, in addition to bringing back the local specialties, he also brought back 3 ships' worth of dried fish. Dried fish from the sea, the kind that was very big. As long as the people of Sanshui County had one, they would have no problem eating it for 3 to 5 days. However, on the surface, it was said that he was following the orders of the imperial court. In truth, everyone knew that the imperial court would not let Zhang Zhong bring fish back to the commoners. A sea fish was not expensive. Even though this place was a little far from the sea, one could buy a big sea fish with 100 copper coins. The commoners mainly felt Zhang Zhong's goodwill. Bringing anything back from Luzhou would be more profitable than bringing fish back. However, Zhang Zhong still packed the fish and delivered them to each family. The commoners knew what was going on, but they did not say it out loud. They were afraid of bringing trouble to the Zhang family and the Wang family. They knew that Sanshui County was the world of the Zhang family and the Wang family. If Zhang Zhong wanted to rebel, there would be no problem at all. Zhang Zhong also knew that his every move in Sanshui County was being watched. After all, Sanshui County was too important. It had a specialized craftsman academy, controlled a river, and increased grain production. Coupled with the annual tax income, it would be a lie to say that it was not tempting. The problem was that Sanshui County could not arrange its own people. To be an official in Sanshui County, one had to be approved by the commoners. The commoners did not know the new official yet. They had to do something good for the commoners first. Apart from this path, the other path was naturally Zhang Zhong's idea. Even if the commoners had already chosen their officials, Zhang Zhong could waive them with just a word. Otherwise, they would not be able to collect so much tax. Among them were people sent by Li Longji. Li Longji was also afraid. The Zhang family was too powerful. If they wanted to rebel, the people who were sent to quell the rebellion would have to fight in Yaozhou first. Only after winning could they enter Sanshui County and continue the fight. Fortunately, the Zhang family always knew when to advance and when to retreat. They would never do anything that they shouldn't do. Many secrets were written and sent to the higher-ups. Otherwise, they would have been dealt with long ago. As a matter of fact, as soon as the big fish was given out, a few officials from the imperial court used pigeons to spread the news, saying that they also wanted to try the taste of the sea fish and were prepared to pay for one. One of them was the person in charge of the imperial kitchen. After Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan read the letter, they understood that the people were not asking for the sea fish. They were expressing that they already knew about the Zhang family giving out the fish. It's not easy to give out something. Just give it to them. Since they want to eat it, they have no choice but to give it to them. Find a few sheep's hearts and put them in the fish's stomach. Remember to open the fish first and stuff them in through the mouth. Send them to the imperial kitchen and say that the combination of fish and sheep will taste better. Zhang Xiaobao was very familiar with this kind of thing. Since Li Longji had sent people to ask about the fish, he should give them an answer. Zhang Zhong did not understand the meaning of this, and specially came over to ask, Xiaobao, are we just going to put the sheep's hearts into the fish's stomach? Can they still be eaten? Eat. Father, they won't eat it. They will just look at it. They know that the Zhang family and Wang family are loyal and will not make things difficult for us. Zhang Xiaobao explained to his father. Then why do we have to let the sheep's heart go? Isn't chicken heart better? Maybe the fish can be eaten. Zhang Zhong felt that this was also a kind of knowledge. Zhang Xiaobao shook his head. Chicken won't do. Sheep and fish together are not only fresh, but also nurturing. First of all, they are the people of Tang Dynasty. If Li Longji is willing to play games, then play with him. Oh, it's the emperor. Zhang Zhong understood now. It turned out that giving things was also a kind of knowledge. It seemed that he had to learn more in the future and ask his son often. It was not ordinary. After knowing about the gift, Zhang Zhong asked again, Xiaobao, where do you think I should go next time? It's not good to enter the capital too early. Father, you don't have to worry about this matter. There are people who are more attentive than us. Li Sun will definitely think of a way. Prince Xining is also the same. Since you are free now, Father, you should enjoy it for 2 more days. I reckon that the next place you go will be busy. It's either a very poor place or a very rich place. It's fine if it's poor. We will take out our own money to help the people, and then we can earn a lot. I'm afraid that we will go to a rich place, such as Hunan. If you really want to go there, Father, you should not go. You'd rather go back to the capital. The water there is too deep. I reckon that going back and forth will tire you to death. Zhang Xiaobao actually wanted his father to come to Yaozhou. It was very easy to manage here. With a government order, the people would obey. But this was absolutely impossible. Sanshui County was already worrying. How could they give more chances to the Zhang family? Zhang Zhong rubbed his son's head and left without saying a word. He felt a little uncomfortable. When encountering something, he could not make a better judgment and had to ask his son. He did not feel that his son was better than him. No matter how smart his son was, he was still a son. He knew how to be filial to his parents and know how to share the family's responsibilities. What made him uncomfortable was that he always made his son worry. His son was still young. Even if he was a deity, it was still tiring. He had to make his son and daughter-in-law busy with things that they should not worry about. If he could understand more, his son and daughter-in-law would be more relaxed. Learn, he must learn. In the future, he would let his son and daughter-in-law do less tiring work. Zhang Zhong walked back to his courtyard. On the way, he thought about this. He also saw how powerful his son and daughter-in-law were. They were truly strategizing. in business, calculations, people's livelihood, and now the 4 children were also involved. While his son and daughter-in-law were dealing, they could also find time to train the guards and learn knowledge every day. Oh, right, there was also a diplomatic aspect. The 2 children were also in charge. Moreover, they had to come up with new things from time to make money and develop. All the burdens were placed on the children. Seeing that his father had left, Zhang Xiaobao took out a pen and paper and began to design something. This time, the things to be made were simple. It was a sledge and ice skates. After the design was done, the physical objects had to be made and then sent to the Ministry of Works and the Ministry of War. Although it was simple, it was not small. It could be used to transport goods and also allow people to move quickly on the ice. According to the service target of technology, the first target was naturally the military. Therefore, he had to let the imperial court know about this matter first. After the imperial court had researched and understood it, he could consider whether to apply it to people's livelihood. Chapter 546. It was almost the 30th day of the year. Even the poorest people in the family would try their best to get some good things for the coming year. The farmers of Zhuangzi, Zhang family, and Wang family were the happiest. Their main family was back, and they could keep watch at night. The people of Sanshui County were also happy. Each family had a big fish. No matter how expensive it was given by the Zhang family and Wang family. The people of Luzhou were also happy. The new provincial governor did not make any trouble. He did everything according to the rules set by the previous provincial governor. He did not cross the line at all. The 30th day of the year could be said to be the busiest day of the year. Everyone was looking forward to the arrival of the new year. They were busy slaughtering pigs and chickens. However, not everyone was like that. The Ning family in Qin province was worried now. They had money for the new year, and they did not lack things. Moreover, they had made a lot of money recently. However, it was because of this money that they got into trouble. They did it on purpose. The Zhang family must have done it on purpose. They knew that we would follow them and make fake furniture and sell it to the rich and powerful. I want to impeach them. How could they set me up before they left? Ning Zhongzi did not have to do anything anymore. He was resting during the new year. He sat in his study. On the beautiful table, there were posts of questions. The content of the posts was basically the same. They asked him where the goods came from and why they were fake furniture. How much did they cost when they bought the goods? Did they know that the goods were fake? The steward stood beside him. He had also read the posts. At this moment, he did not have the heart to think about who would be responsible. He only sighed inwardly at the Zhang family's methods. In the past, the Zhang family also sold furniture. However, they never went through Qin province. They would just send people to find ways to deliver it to the buyers. This time, before they left, they actually sent people to deliver a lot of furniture from Qin province by land. Of course, they had to stop them. The furniture was beautifully made, and the paint on it was very charming. There were also design drawings, and the function of each part was written out. There were also extra documents stamped with the seal of Luzhou's Chamber of Commerce. If it were anyone else, they would be tempted. There were so many documents. Why not forge them according to the drawings? In the end, the Ning family agreed. They chased away the people who were escorting the Zhang family and left everything behind. They also found a craftsman to make furniture according to the blueprints. Some of them were given away as gifts, while some were sold to the rich and powerful. Luzhou's Chamber of Commerce's name was still there. It could be said that he had made a lot of money. He even made a fake seal according to the seal on the document. Who would have thought that the Zhang family would release news before they arrived in Beijing, saying that there would be a lot of fake furniture? They also told people where the fake furniture was and asked people to pay attention when they bought it. This time, the mark appeared on the certificate document. Every document was different, and there was a special pattern in a very inconspicuous place. If the furniture was turned over or the drawer was pulled open, the same mark could be found on the document. However, there were no marks on the Zhang family's furniture and documents. Wasn't this a scam? This was bad, too bad. This batch of furniture didn't seem to be for sale at all. It was specially prepared for the Ning family. The people who bought it were angry. Not only did they spend a lot of money, but when their friends saw it, they would be ridiculed. They would be too ashamed to go out. The people who were given the furniture were even angrier than the people who bought it. How could a family that could be given furniture be a simple family? Using fake things, those who knew would think that they were cheated. Those who didn't know would think that they were reluctant to spend money to buy the real thing, and bought fake things at a cheap price to show off. Even if they knew that they were cheated, it would still be embarrassing. This showed that such good things weren't something that the cheated people could understand. With their status, it wasn't suitable for them to use such furniture. They lacked a foundation. It was too close to the new year, so they couldn't find time to come here in person. They could only ask someone to send an invitation. After the new year, it would be hard to say what would happen. Seeing the master hit the fake table hard, the housekeeper hesitated and said, "Master, why don't we return the money to them and buy a few sets of real furniture and send them to the people who gave them the furniture for free last time? We can't buy them in our name. Otherwise, we'll be cheated again." It's too late. It's fine as long as we compensate the people who bought the furniture. But will the people who gave them the furniture still want it? Won't they buy the real thing themselves? I hate Zhang Zhong. I'm going to impeach him for manufacturing fake goods. Ning Zhongzi knew very well that this was a trap set by the Zhang family. He didn't blame his family's decision. If it were anyone else, they would fall into this trap. Although he said that he was going to impeach, he didn't have any intention of writing. The Zhang family didn't say that they were going to sell the furniture. They were just shipping it. When the time came, they could say that it wasn't good and that they wanted to destroy it or give it to the village. If he really reported this matter to the higher-ups, they would ask him why he blocked the goods and become a laughingstock. Besides, it wasn't up to him to impeach Zhang Zhong. It was up to the Ning family whether or not they wanted to impeach him. The Ning family was a family. Some of them were officials, while others were businessmen. If the Ning family was impeached for manufacturing fake goods and cheating people, it was very likely that he would be implicated as well. The housekeeper wasn't worried that he would be investigated. He lowered his head and looked at his feet until he felt that the master's anger had softened. He said, "Master, why don't we do this? If we continue to give them furniture, they might not want it anymore. Then we can give them some gifts. The Ning family has a lot of them. They won't be useful for the time being." "What do you mean they won't be useful?" "The hawksbill shell is useless, but the shell incense is a medicinal material. It's also a precious incense that is usually used. Not to mention that we haven't had any income for more than a year. We've been wasting money all this time. Now that the business outside is back, we still have to take things out. In less than 2 years, the Ning family will be finished." The more Ning Zhongzi thought about it, the more his heart ached. Money, it's all money. Which one of them doesn't need money? Otherwise, don't keep up appearances and stay away from the big families. Otherwise, we'll end up like them. Let's do as you say. Lu Zhou, didn't a new provincial governor come? Find someone to discuss it with him and ask if he can get us some gifts at a cheaper price. We haven't heard from Chao Herue and the other 2 families for a long time. Do you know where they went? Since they're no longer judges, it's time to ask them to return the money. Ning Zhongzi was 100% unwilling to give away the good things in his house. Suddenly, he thought of the 3 people who had written IOUs. They were no longer of any use. It was time to ask them to do something else. The housekeeper knew about this matter. He nodded and replied, "Master, I heard that the 3 families and Lu Shaoqing's family have gone to the newly discovered island. They need to help with the local affairs. Should we send someone to catch them? It's only right to return the money owed." Zhang Zhong is a despicable person. Do you know that? Even now, he still doesn't want to let them go. Life on the island must be tough. It's New Year now. Let's not talk about this. Go and arrange the gifts. How are the preparations for the New Year's goods? Ning Zhongzi really could not find a way to deal with Zhang Zhong. He could only take advantage of Zhang Zhong with his words and categorize him as a despicable person. Don't worry, master. I've already arranged the New Year's goods at home. I'll go right away. The housekeeper did not have time to care about this despicable person. He replied and left in a hurry. What was the point of contacting the new provincial governor? Lu Zhou was already an iron plate. No one could touch him. Zhang Xiaobao, who had tricked the Ning family once, had long thrown the matter of scheming to the back of his mind. He did not care if they were not on the same level as him. He and Wang Wan were accompanying Old Man Chang and Old Man Pai to go fishing. The two old men also knew how to find a place. It was the most beautiful pavilion between the clouds and the water. They first sprinkled a large amount of rice flour into it. This was called making a nest. Then they found the earthworms that the Zhang family specially raised. There was a stove next to it to boil water. There were tea bowls and melon seeds on the table. The two of them appeared to be very leisurely and did not care about anything. Old Man Chang did not care. He was alone, so he could go anywhere. However, Old Man Pai was wrong. He had a family. He did not care about himself. Instead, he told his family that they did not have to work and that they would go to Zhuangzi to eat and drink together on the 30th. What the hell was this? Xiao Bao, why do you think we haven't caught any fish yet? Don't we have a lot of fish in the lake? Old Man Pai waited for a quarter of an hour. When he saw that no fish had taken the bait, he retracted the hook and looked at the drowning earthworms that were about to die from the cold. He asked Zhang Xiaobao. How could Zhang Xiaobao not know the reason for his own family's fish? Nowadays, the fish did not eat the bait that was casually thrown outside. There was fish food specially prepared for tourists. A bag of fish food cost 5 copper coins. Usually, they were not fed. If tourists wanted to see the fish, they would buy it and throw it into the lake. Moreover, the weather was cold now. The two old men were fishing in a shady place. The current was also relatively strong. If they wanted to catch fish, they would have to change the direction. Zhang Xiaobao knew. Just as he was about to say it, he suddenly realized that something was wrong. He should not have gone to the pavilion with Cuckoo to play today. The old man had something else to do. He was probably looking for an excuse. Just like last time, when one fish was full, the other fish were still hungry. In the end, he had to think of a way to help the people of Sanshui County find something to do so that more fish could eat their fill. He glanced at Wang Wan, and Wang Wan turned her head away in a very disloyal manner, implying that she should be the one to bear the brunt. After thinking for a while, Zhang Xiaobao said, "Grandpa Bai, is it because it's too cold? The fish don't like to come out? Why don't you change to a place where the sun can shine?" Zhang Xiaobao felt that this answer did not seem to connect to anything else. If there was a connection, it would be the cotton clothes. He was already working hard to plant cotton flowers. He thought that Old Man Pai would not use this as a breakthrough. Unfortunately, Old Man Pai was not Ning Zhongzi. He was a third-rank official and had held many important positions. He was qualified to compete with Zhang Xiaobao, and he took the initiative to attack. As expected, Old Man Pai looked at Zhang Xiaobao with admiration. He understood that Zhang Xiaobao wanted to change the topic with a few words, but that was not possible. Xiaobao is right. Xiaobao, I find that you are getting smarter. When it's cold, the fish don't like to move. It's the same for people, right? Is that so? Zhang Xiaobao realized that things were a little out of his control. He continued, I'm very stupid. It's all thanks to Grandpa Bai and Grandpa Zhang's good teaching. Why not? When winter comes, the people in the north usually don't do anything, just like the fish. But fish don't know how to wear clothes, but people know how to wear more clothes. I think you know this, Xiaobao. Old Man Pai continued. Chapter 547. Old Man Pai was not in a hurry at all. He sat there calmly and watched Zhang Xiaobao work. He took a sip of tea and pinched a melon seed. Wei Wei used some strength in his hand, and the melon seed opened. It looked very ordinary, but there was a lot of work involved. Because it was not a melon that specialized in making melon seeds, there were usually not many big ones in a single watermelon. After that, it had to be washed. After washing, it was cooked with different seasonings according to taste. After that, it would be dried in the sun. Then, it would be picked out based on color. After that, it would be soaked in water with other seasonings. After it was done, it would be brought over. Those that did not have any cracks were also left out. Anyway, it was just a hassle. It sounded very valuable. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan usually did not eat it. The two of them would eat the kind that was cooked for the first time. Sometimes, they could even eat the bitter ones. For the two of them, that was real life. Not bad. After eating two, Old Man Pai was satisfied. But this kind of good stuff is not something that ordinary people can enjoy. Not to mention the melon seeds that are worth more than gold. Even normal days are not easy. There are people to feed the fish, but who cares about the ordinary people? Xiaobao, didn't you say that the fish will not eat the bait when it is cold? Look at the food you made. Why do the fish rush over to eat it when you throw it in? That is because the ingredients are good. Different fish like to eat ingredients that are not moved. Zhang Xiaobao saw that Old Man Pai was not going to give up, so he could only follow suit. He wanted to see what Old Man Pai was going to do. Yes, for the fish, the ingredients are different, but for the people, it is different, especially in the north, where there is a continuous grassland. When it snows heavily, the road cannot be walked. The cows and sheep also freeze to death. There is nothing to earn money, so they all stay in their tents and do not come out. If there is no north, where would we get so many cows and sheep? Xiaobao, what do you think we should do? Old Man Pai finally understood what he meant. Zhang Xiaobao thought carefully, then pointed to the north and asked, Grandpa Bai, are you talking about Yinzhou? Further north. Fengzhou. Zhang Xiaobao asked again. That was Inner Mongolia and Mongolia. On the map, below that was Shaanxi, Gansu, and Ningxia, including his own place. Yeah, that's right. The people there have it tough, Old Man Pai said sadly. Zhang Xiaobao was stunned. Wang Wan was also puzzled. She asked, Grandpa, Bai, you're not thinking of sending someone there to be the provincial governor, are you? That won't do. Ordinary people can't stay in that place. If they're not used to the climate, it's easy for them to get into trouble. Besides, there aren't many people there. Why bother with them? Wang Wan knew that there were many products there, but it was too far away. Furthermore, the current population of the Tang Dynasty had not reached the point where they could squander as they wished. There were many things that could not be used now, such as rare earths. Otherwise, why would the desert be accompanied by desolation? She was really worried that Old Man Pai would send Zhang Zhong there to be an official on a whim. It was not that she was afraid, but it was mainly because he would not be able to achieve anything. There was no population. If he really wanted to go there, he might as well go to Xinjiang. At least he could get more wine. With the snow blocking the roads, there would be no contact for a long time. Old Man Pai narrowed his eyes and thought for a while. He looked at Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan and said, The imperial court is rich now. They also have the cement to build the city. In addition, they found a piece of land in Shanghai that belongs to the Tang Dynasty. It's not good to always be thinking about land. Don't tell me they want to go to war? After building up Fengzhou and making it rich, they will lure the Turks to attack them and then find an excuse to send troops over? Even if they conquer it now, they won't be able to occupy it. Isn't it good to have more money to build up the country? Oh, I know. Grandpa Bai, did you see the new weapons and feel that it is easy to deal with cavalry? Zhang Xiaobao was not stupid. He guessed what he meant. He was not afraid of war, but it was not cost-effective to fight now. The transportation was not convenient, and after the war, they would not be able to occupy it. Moreover, there were other ethnic groups and countries on the Turk side. The two continents were connected. If they fought because they were close to each other, they could fight all the way to the Mediterranean Sea. North America was only separated by a sea, so they could easily cross it. But would that work? It's not a war. It snowed heavily this year. Everyone was busy during the new year, so they did not feel it. In fact, there is a shortage of cattle and sheep. I think it is the same for the Turks. Every time it is, at this time, they will come to steal things. The scale is not large, so they have not done much. Moreover, it is not easy for the Turks to find the people of Fengzhou. Everyone is running around. War is a means. It is enough as long as we know how to achieve the goal. If we can cross over, we can use food to exchange for some cattle, and sheep to slow down the situation in the capital. Force is only a guarantee. There was no way in the past, but now, Old Man Pai explained. He did not finish his words, but Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan knew what he meant. He meant that the Zhang family had 2 experts in charge, and they had already made a lot of good things. They were not lacking in this. The next place my father will go must be decided before the spring plowing, and he will go to the same place as Li Sun. Zhang Xiaobao began to talk about the conditions. You have to think about this carefully. This has already happened 3 times. The top scorer of the imperial examination, the county magistrate of Hua Yuan County, and the provincial governor of Luzhou. I have been an official since I was 20 years old, and until now, I have never met anyone who is in a situation like yours. You go wherever you want to be an official. The Ministry of Personnel is just a decoration to your family. The 3 provinces and 6 ministries are now revolving around your family. All the impeachment memorials have been suppressed, and all the issues raised by your family have to be discussed together. Many people are not satisfied. If it wasn't for the business relationship, and if it wasn't for the fact that your family is always giving away benefits, then the consequences. There are no ifs. If there is a relationship, then there is a relationship. You take your time to think about it, Grandpa Bai. My family is not in a hurry. Zhang Xiaobao was not afraid of being scared at all. As long as his family did not rebel, they would not have any excuse to deal with them. After Zhang Xiaobao finished speaking, he really did let Old Man Pai and Old Man Chang think about it. He and Wang Wan went home to get the blueprint of the snow sled. They had just designed it, and they were going to use it. One was for a single person, and the other was for a snow plow. Old Man Pai thought that Zhang Xiaobao had gone home to ask the expert, so he was not in a hurry. He changed his direction and threw the pole in to continue fishing. Half an hour later, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan returned. Xiaobao, cuckoo, I thought about it just now. This is a little difficult, but it's not impossible. Old Man Pai was finally convinced. If the Zhang family had a way, then the imperial court would have to agree. Zhang Xiaobao took the blueprint out of his pocket and unfolded it for Old Man Pai and Old Man Chang to see. That's it. There's a kind of deer in the north that can pull this cart and run quickly on the snow. You can tell from the ink. This map isn't new today, and it's not used to transport goods. It's used to transport troops at key places in the future when there's a war. The structure is simple, and people can understand it when they see it. They can learn it immediately. It's not my family's business whether it's used in the north or the northeast. If the wind is good, we can use sails to increase the speed. It's wide under the snow and narrow under the ice. Old Man Pai did not know what to say. The Zhang family had such a good thing for a long time, but they were unwilling to take it out. Just like what he told Old Man Chang in Luzhou, the Zhang family would only make something new when it was needed. Old Man Chang sighed in his heart. The Zhang family was like 100 treasures pouch. There were many good things in it, and it was up to you to take them out. Old Man Pai held the paper in his hand and hesitated. Just like what Zhang Xiaobao said, when this thing was not made, people would not be able to think of it. However, when they saw it, they could make it immediately. Should they use it to transport goods, or should they keep it to transport soldiers at key times? They had to make a choice. It was a dilemma. Xiaobao, is there any other way? When the time comes, we can choose one to transport the goods. When Old Man Pai asked this question, even he felt embarrassed. His old face turned red. He had really made things difficult for others. At this moment, Wang Wan pouted and took out another piece of paper. She stuffed it into Old Man Pai's hand. It's just a place to become an official, and you need so many things in exchange. The sleigh is good, but it's a big target. You also need to take care of the deer. This is for a single person. As long as you wear white clothes and a white hat in the snow, you won't be easily discovered. You don't have to worry about falling in the snow that's a few feet deep. There's also this thing that fits on the skis. It has barbs. Even if you go uphill, you'll be faster than a normal person. It's suitable for small groups of guerrilla warfare and delaying battles. Use a crossbow, choose the right terrain, attack quickly, attack from a distance, and run after attacking. If you add in our fireworks, it's very effective against other people's logistics. The more Wang Wan spoke, the more fluent she became. Zhang Xiaobao felt like he was listening to an advertisement. Old Man Pai and Old Man Chang didn't think so, especially Old Man Chang. He could draw a picture in his heart according to what Wang Wan said. He knew how effective this thing would be in a place with thick snow. Especially when used together with the hot wine made by the Zhang family, it would really appear and disappear like a ghost. If he was given 1,000 people who were familiar with using it, he would dare to fight against an army of 100,000. As long as he had enough bows and arrows and understood the terrain, even if he couldn't fight them head-on, he would drag them to death. Old Man Pai slapped his thigh. Good stuff. Then this thing called a sleigh can be used to transport goods. With his words, it meant that the next time Zhang Zhong became a local official, he would still be able to choose for himself. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan sighed in relief at the same time. The two of them actually still had some good stuff that they didn't take out, and that was their eyes. They were specifically used to deal with snow blindness. If they fought in the snow for a long time, they couldn't do without snow glasses. Especially when they encountered people who were also wearing white, their eyes could be blinded. Since Old Man Pai had agreed, there was no need to take them out. They would wait until they needed them in the future. If they took them out all at once, it wouldn't show how precious they were. Besides, the snow glasses also needed glass, so they were hoping to sell them for more money. There's no time to lose. I'll immediately write a letter to ask the people from the Ministry of War and the Ministry of Works to come over. Do you have any good stuff? Take them out together. The sooner we use them, the sooner we can benefit the people. Chapter 548. Old Man Pai was a man of his word. He didn't care that it was the 28th of the 12th lunar month. He stopped fishing and ran back to the capital to write a letter. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan immediately made ice carts and steel ice skates. They planned to play on the pond after the 30th day. It was also a kind of entertainment tool for the villagers. When the 30th day arrived, the 3 Zhuangzi of the Zhang family, the 1 Zhuangzi of the Wang family, and the villagers of Gujia village, and Li Sun's Zhuangzi gathered together again. Everyone was here. The only regret was that Li Sun had to return to the capital for the spring festival. He missed his family after not seeing them for more than a year. The 30th day of Zhangjie Zhuangzi was very lively. The sound of New Year's greetings rang out continuously. The fireworks continued for an hour. Dumplings with various fillings were eaten freely. Just like the New Year's celebration in Huaiyuan County, the houses were built with wooden boards. The 4 doors were all connected. People could go wherever they wanted. The adults were happy. They believed that there would be better days in the new year. However, the children were the happiest. They wore new clothes. No matter where they went, the lights were bright and they didn't feel cold. Even the people of the academy and between the clouds and the water who didn't go home were invited to watch the performance on the stage. Nearly 10,000 people stayed outside. Even Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan's younger brother and sister didn't sleep. They waved their little hands excitedly and made incomprehensible sounds. They drank half a bowl of dumpling soup and didn't even drink milk. Their small house was occupied by the children of Zhuangzi, who were younger than 2 years old. They climbed up and down as if they would never feel tired. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan spent a lot of money on this night. They spent more than 20,000 strings of coins on gifts, food, drinks, and houses. They didn't care. It was lively. There was a sense of security with more people. This is the real New Year. Xiao Bao, how much did we spend? Wang Wan drank some wine and leaned against the wall. She asked Zhang Xiaobao, who was using the stove, to roast prawns. That's a lot. Just the cost alone is 40,000 strings of coins. His Highness sent fireworks to the aristocratic families around the capital. Li Sun also took a lot of small abalones from us. He didn't give us a single copper coin. Those are abalones, not grass carps. He must be showing off to others with our money. Zhang Xiaobao also drank a lot of wine. He also gave Guingxi a set of beautiful glass wine set. As long as a woman was from the Zhang Xiaobao and Wang family, she would be given a mirror. It was not big, 1 foot wide and 2 feet long. The farmers did not decline and accepted the gifts given by the master. At most, they would risk their lives if the master needed them in the future. Nowadays, the villagers could no longer be bought over with money. Ever since the villager who went to Huyin County came back injured, the Zhang family's series of actions made the villager want to protect the main family with all their hearts. They all prepared to wait until the new year and expand their business to further places. With the master behind them, they were not afraid of anything. Now no family or official was willing to provoke the farmers of the Zhang Xiaobao and Wang family. Bullying the farmers would not give them any benefits. If they really did make a move, they would have to wait for the revenge of the Zhang Xiaobao and Wang family. Take the Ning family, for example. They were such a big family and had hundreds of businesses outside. What was the result? When faced with the overwhelming attack of the Zhang Xiaobao and Wang family, didn't they still shrink back? If they really wanted to deal with the Zhang family, then they would have to start with the main family. After all, revenge was the same. At first, they sent a letter to protest against Huyin County with pigeons. Many officials thought that it was just empty talk, but they didn't expect that 5 days later, the Shuiyun Club's commercial attack would arrive. 7 days later, all the people who participated in the attack would have their legs broken by the guards of the Shuiyun Club. Fast, it was too fast, so fast that it made people scared. It only took 7 days to travel from Sanshui County to Huyin County. If Huyin County was occupied by other countries, the imperial court would not be able to arrive in such a short time even if they sent troops from Sanshui County. However, the guards between the clouds and the water were that fast. First, they used small boats with propellers to sail to the capital. There were already big boats in the capital. They directly changed boats and rushed to Huyin County in one breath. Before the county yamen could react, they caught people according to the information of the shops and beat them up. The night of the 30th passed in a unique atmosphere. The farmers continued to prepare for the activities on the 15th. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan also began to busy themselves. They were busy making lanterns, not for selling them. Since the first time the farmers in Zhuangzi started to make lanterns, even if the master was no longer there, the grocery store would still give them to them for free. It was a large lantern, the kind that could carry people when it flew. It was made of silk cloth, and the outside was smeared with gum to make the cloth airtight. An oil basin was hung below and tied with a rope. It was a large Kongming lantern, or rather, a hot air balloon. On the 15th of the first lunar month, of course, there would be lanterns. Not only Sanshui County, but also Chang'an. No one stipulated that lanterns must be held by hand. A flying lantern was also a lantern. It was just that there were words on it. It wrote Sanshui County's smoked chicken and a picture of a smoked chicken. It flew on Zhuke Street in Chang'an, illuminating people for free. Good people, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan were good people. Xiaobao, What do you think Li Longji's reaction will be if he sees such a big advertisement lantern? Are you really going to make it? Wang Wan felt that Zhang Xiaobao's idea was too crazy. While everyone was celebrating, he was advertising. Li Longji was holding a telescope and celebrating with the people. The moment he looked up and saw the house and the smoked chicken, would he pay for two to try? Can't you make a few more lanterns and hang the ones like peace throughout the world, where he can see it, and hang the ones with advertisements further away? Make 15 lanterns. Except for the direction of the palace, you can only make 5 lanterns in the other 3 directions. You can write good words on the first 2 and draw chicken on the last 3. Zhang Xiaobao only dared to do this because he had sent the sleigh and skis. He thought that Li Longji would not overreact. Wang Wan saw that Zhang Xiaobao was insistent and really did get someone to make 20 lanterns, 15 for her own use, and the other 5 to be sent to the palace for the people to play with. As for whether or not people would tie themselves up and float in the air out of curiosity, and whether or not the brazier under the lanterns could cause a fire, that was none of her concern. Before the 15 lanterns arrived, people from the Ministry of Works and the Ministry of War had found the lantern between the clouds and the water first. Old Man Pai had already asked someone to make the lantern. Any assistant minister from the Ministry of War was actually not a small rank. Lu Zhiro from the Ministry of Works personally came to inspect the lantern. He felt that the Ministry of Works was embarrassing with the Zhang family around. Every time he made something, he would learn from the Zhang family. When he saw the snow sleigh, he realized that it had a very simple structure. If anyone from the Ministry of Works came over, they would be able to copy it and the workmanship would be even more detailed. However, no one had thought of such a simple thing. The snow here was not thick enough, so Lu Zhiro asked someone to pull it on the ice and approved of the sleigh's function. Old Minister, although the sleigh is good, it is not very convenient to use. It must be used in places with thick snow. If we go north from here, we have to use other carriages to pull it. When the time comes, we have to change to the sleigh. It is very troublesome. Lu Zhiro, who was not convinced and always wanted to follow the Zhang family, tried hard to find the problem. She was afraid that what she said just now was not convincing enough. So she added, for example, when transporting ceramics and other utensils, they have to be arranged again by familiar people. When they change to the sleigh, they have to be arranged again. Don't tell me that we have to let familiar people follow the carriage? This is a problem. Xiaobao, what do you think? Old Man Pai asked Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan to come over today. Lu Zhiro also helped. What kind of person was Zhang Xiaobao? As soon as he heard Lu Zhiro's words, he could guess what she was thinking. This was jealousy, naked jealousy, and it was not disguised at all. Grandpa Bai, I thought it was something big. It is just a restriction on the transportation road. It is very simple. You can make the sleigh as big as the carriage and put a rack on it. When there is no snow, you can take the sleigh apart and put it on the carriage. When there is snow, you can put the sleigh under the carriage and use the rack to support it. The horse can be replaced with a deer, and you can pull it up and run. Grandpa Bai, things are dead, but people are alive. You have to learn and use it flexibly. Capable people think of principles, but incapable people put their hopes on others. When they encounter difficulties, they don't know how to think of a solution themselves. If they can't do it, then they are derelict in their duties. Zhang Xiaobao felt that he should teach the people in the Ministry of Works. If he did not think of a solution himself, he could not rely on restricting others to improve himself. It was not good for the country and the people. Wang Wan also added, Grandpa Bai Xiaobao is right. Migratory birds move far away and fly towards the moon. When the sky is cloudy, those who fly high and cross the clouds to find the moon are strong. Those who fly low only know that the moon is bright, but do not know that the moon is everlasting. Those who look for the light under the clouds and lose their lives in the fire are weak. Old Man Pai understood, and so did Lu Zhiro. Wang Wan was saying that migratory birds flew according to the sun and the moon, especially at night. The powerful birds directly flew into the clouds, And the weak birds only thought that where there was light was the moon. Even if there was a fire, they would stupidly fly up. Such birds could not compare to those that flew high. It was because he knew that Lu Jiro was depressed. If it was an adult, he could also find a way to vent. But these two children, each of them said a few words and trampled the Ministry of Works to the ground. Shameful, it was really too shameful. The two children could not have known that he would say this when they came over. Since they could say it, it could only be because the two children were smart. Lord Lu, the children are not sensible and speak the truth. Don't take it to heart. This, the problem of changing carriages, is solved. Make a frame and let Lord Lu see if there is anything that you can't think of. Since the two children are here, let them help think. Treat it as compensation for speaking the truth just now. Old Man Pai was very happy. He finally saw Lu Jiro suffer. At this time, how could he not add insult to injury? The people in the Ministry of Works were indeed too lazy. If he mocked Lu Jiro, he would go back and supervise him more. Lu Jiro could not be angry with the two children. Besides, they were not wrong. He could only glare at the workers next to him. A younger worker who was glared at was not convinced and said, "Then what if there is suddenly a hole in the snow in front of us?" This time, there was no need for Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan to speak. Lu Jiro said, "What if you suddenly trip while walking? Are you not going to walk in the future?" You're tuning in to the Echo Reads YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.